Hello, welcome to the Live Reality Games podcast. And my name is Steven. I'm back today for more Surviving Reelfoot content. And with me, we have yet another deep dive interview. And joining me is the the person who just missed the jury, Deana. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Let's change that all up. Let's just put me as winner, and we'll just pretend that that's the case.
We have the winner of Surviving Reelfoot, Fowler's Point, with 13 jury votes to her name. How does your victory feel?
I knew it was going to happen the second I came out of the car and saw the trees and stuff. I was in my element, and I knew I was getting that win, and nobody else had a chance. Feels great and amazing.
I mean, I hear after the season you practically just want to move to like outdoor Tennessee now. You don't want like an office job.
Can you not tell? I have been outside every single day since. I have got so much sun. I have so much color. I am in love with bugs and nature. It changed my heart. No, not at all. I'm not going outside. Nobody has gotten me to go outside since, and it will not happen. But that is what it is.
I mean, what were you anticipating to be the hardest point of doing an outdoors game versus what actually was the hardest part of being outdoors?
As I said, I do not go outside at all. So me going outside, the sun, I was like, I am as pale as you can be. So thinking about going outside, being in the sun, sunburns, all that stuff. I don't even like sunscreen, which, contradicts everything that I was scared of. I was scared of bugs, snakes. They kept giving these like little pointers of how to identify rattlesnakes. And I'm like, I should really pay attention to this, but I also don't want to look at snakes all day because I'll freak myself out and not go. There's just everything about the outdoors element was just terrifying to me. But ultimately, if I'm honest, it was not the idea of sleeping on the ground. It was not the idea of not getting food. It all boiled down to my insecurity is like, I did not want to go out there and smell bad in front of, everyone else and be able to smell myself and know that like, there's nothing I can do about it. So that was like my biggest insecurity going into the game was just like, how do I not let this happen? I was looking for ideas online. I was going to go like start the fire and take ashes and put them all over my body, like my armpits. I almost got Botox in my armpits so I didn't sweat. Like I was doing some crazy things just to avoid that. It was not an issue. Surprisingly, I could not smell myself or anyone else after pretty much 20 minutes outside. I did pack sunscreen that was super scented. It was like cocoa butter. So yeah, I took some precautions so that I didn't have to worry about that for myself.
Now, let's see. Let me double check. So you were out there for 4 full days. Looking back, what was the hardest part about being outside in the elements?
TMI, but using the restroom outside, like straight up, figuring out. We had designated at the yellow camp a place to use the restroom, like that was down a little hill with some trees, and then there was a rattlesnake over there. So very quickly, once it started raining, we got our ponchos. I'm like, I'm not walking anywhere that there could be a snake, so I'm putting this poncho on, and if I have to do anything, it's not going to be super far from camp, but nobody's going to see anything. That was probably the hardest thing for me once I was actually out there. Everything else kind of was just fun and I found it fun. I found it fun sleeping on the ground. I found it fun eating rice that was probably the crunchiest stuff I've ever had. Like I found everything else fun except for trying to figure out how to use the restroom without getting bit by a snake.
But you survived.
I did. I am still here.
So let's back up a bit. How did you discover Reelfoot?
So Michael DeLucas and Parker, my very first org, I come from the org community, the very first org I ever played. And I won it. The boys let me win it. I don't know why. I met them in that game, and we were in an alliance, and we all made it to like top 5, whatever. And they suggested that I go and watch it on YouTube and their seasons, and they suggested I play. And I looked at them like, you got the wrong one. Why would I ever go outside? You clearly do not know me. But me being who I am, when I try to get to know someone, I try to figure out what they're interested in, and I try to go, scout it down. So I actually watched everything that I could find on Reelfoot, and I decided that this year was going to be the year that I go and do things that are out of my element. Things I would normally not do to push myself. I'm kind of antisocial, surprisingly. Like I'm loud and boisterous, but I'm antisocial. I don't go out, and I've planned a few trips this year that just have me going outside of the things I normally do to try and push myself out of that shell. And so this definitely was the way that I was going to go and do that, to completely go from someone that sits in an office all day and, eats ice cream sitting at my desk, 2 a.m, to someone that's going to sleep on the ground and hopes that I can actually fall asleep and not get bit by a spider or something like that outside. So it was just me deciding that this year was going to be a year that I was going to go push myself into doing things.
So you apply for Reelfoot, you get cast, and suddenly you're like, this is actually happening. I will be outdoors at some point in the next 6 to 7 months. What did you do to prepare for it?
So my application process was actually a little bit different than everyone else's. I did not really, I did apply in a sense that they came to me in maybe January or December or January after the cast was already set. I was friends with Pete and Parker, and I messaged him and I was like, hey, if I'm sorry, I missed the casting deadline, but like next year, can you guys just like remind me, because I'm not very good at paying attention to anything online. Can you remind me so I can apply? And because I did that maybe in December. They came to me in January and asked me if I'd be willing to apply. I'm assuming that they had someone drop out from their spot, and I jumped on that like that because that was right around the time where I said, this is years I'm going to push myself and do things that I'm not used to doing. So it's just, my application process was very different from everyone else's. But once I found out I was playing, I decided to disassociate from everything. I was not going to think about me going outside, because the more I sat and actually thought about, hey, I'm going outdoors, the more likely I was going to back out and freak myself out. So what did I do? A few days before, I went and got my nails done. I pampered myself. Call me crazy, but that's how I can get mental peace to go out and actually put myself in a situation where I'm completely out of control of everything. So I did absolutely nothing to prepare except for disassociating from like everything that was going to go on for me. I probably would not have made it on that plane if I hadn't have done that, and going to pamper myself. Obviously I didn't get up, I didn't walk, I didn't run, I didn't sit there and lessen my intake of food. I did absolutely nothing to prepare for Surviving Reelfoot, and it kind of shows. But I had some, familiarity with like a live game previously. This is my second one, never Survivor, but I guess I did dive deep in it. It's completely different, online games, tons of Survivor games just to get the feel down, because I'm also not a person that watches Survivor. I'm horrible. I used to watch Survivor, like the old seasons. Ask me, don't do that. Don't ask me anything. But maybe if you ask me some things, I can't spit off facts like James or Lauren or anyone else that can name everyone and their mom that's played Survivor. I might be able to tell you some things. I haven't watched a Survivor season in like 6 years. And so I don't know what I was doing. It was just, I like online games, and I really like Survivor games. I very rarely lose online Survivor orgs. Very rarely. If you let me get to the end, I'm going to beat you in a little speech. And so it was just, that's what I did to prepare. Just play online games and do nothing else, I guess. Nothing of actual substantial value to get ready for the game.
It's not like it's kind of like the Band-Aid method, right? You're just going to I'm just going to rip it off when I get there, and we'll deal with it when it comes. And if I think about it, nothing good will come.
That is precisely what it was. I disassociated and showed up.
So I know you weren't thinking about it, but did you have a strategy or tactics in mind that you wanted to do when you got into the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of wanted to, I'm a numbers person. I haven't hid this. I'm very much into counting and figuring out how to get myself.
Numbers.
Numbers. And I knew right away, I need this many people in a group. I need in that group this many people. Hopefully I can have, middle divide that out. And so my intention always going out was to get a group of 5 based on I was able to, guess what the tribe size would be, have a group of 5, and that have 2 different groups of 3 where they're different people, and have people outside of those 5 too, which I do feel like I was able to do. It was always my intention to make sure I was able to do that. That was my strategy. Just go with the numbers and make sure that I had people outside of it. So if things were turning, that they couldn't get the votes to turn on to me. And that was the goal going in. Just, I would say, was to be authentic and to do all this stuff. I don't like talking about myself. Angela has mentioned in her podcast, she didn't really know much about me. And that's true. I don't like talking about myself. I will sit and listen to you any day. But when it comes to me, I don't want to speak. And so it was just showing that I was good for your game in a way. Like, my other strategy was to be to be personal with other people. I've never changed the strategy. Tell me about you. I will take that information. I will care for you. I will ask you every question, any amount of information you want to tell me, and I will console you if you feel sad, anything that and I won't make it seem like I need much at all in return. And that was my goal going out there. My strategy was just to be likable, a little less annoying than I actually am. I don't know if I achieved that, but a little less annoying than I actually am. And make sure I set up the numbers for myself.
You mentioned you were worried that you were just going to be first boot.
Oh God, yes. Did you see what they did to me? I was that little schoolyard pick. I mean, it was my own fault. I thought we were going outside just to look at stuff. So I'm wearing a bucket hat, Powerpuff like t-shirt, and flared jeans in like 80, 90 degree weather, almost 100-degree weather. I would not have picked me first either. And I'm just sitting here like, I feel like Angela and Barb were standing next to me, and we're both like, oh, I'm gonna be picked last. And I'm like, no, ma'am, it's gonna be me. Like, I just knew I was gonna be the last female picked. And I'm not, you know what? At first I was like, oh, I'm going to be really down about this and it's going to be terrifying. But then I realized people, they see those insecurities and they look for any reason at all in a game to, you know, kind of target someone. And I didn't want anyone to see that I was down whatsoever about it. So I just put on that, like, I'm so excited. Y'all picked me last. Like, thank you so much. I'm so appreciative, and made it seem like I was very excited about, you know, just being on Yellow team. And I loved Yellow. Obviously, once I got to know them, I was strategizing like the second that happened. I was strategizing, actually, we get in the airport. I had a production member on my flight. I didn't know there was a production member on my flight. Mike, who was my tribe handler. Mm-hmm. We all go to, there's like me, Megs, Keenan, James, Angela. We all ended up on the same tribe. And then Mike, who wasn't talking or anything. So I recognized Mike, and I'm like, oh, this guy played last year. So I'm sitting there with my phone trying to take a picture to compare from the photos from last year. Just like, is this a returning season? What is this? And like trying to be sneaky and weird. And I thought he was playing. And I asked him, are you on production or are you playing? And he said he was on production, but I thought he lied to me. But my stupid response when he said I was like, oh, thank God, I don't want to play with you. I said it just like that. I was like, I just set myself up. I was having a panic attack. I like messaged Pete and Parker and Amos and like the group chat. Like, was this guy production? Did I just really mess up? What did I do? But I was playing the second I got there, just trying to analyze everyone, where I could fit in, who I could mesh with. And it was just, it was pretty cool that we ended up all being on the same tribe together. The people that I kind of came in with, even though we couldn't talk or anything. I had some, you know, facial familiarity. I can't say that word, but I thought that was pretty cool. So yes, I was definitely the last pick of the girls. James, because we kind of rode in the car together, we got picked up that morning from the airport. I was really hoping when he got to choose that he would choose Yellow, because I just had this, I don't know, this little vibe that we had going on together, that you're someone that's a comfort person for me. I can be a comfort person for you. And then he picked Yellow, and I felt like I was in a good spot, and they want us to pick a name of who we want to, you know, give some type of advantage to. And I do the thing, I ask. I'm like, who wants it? You know, who can I bestow my vote upon to show that I'm doing you a favor? My first vote went on to Storm, and there was a tie. And then Casey said he wanted it. And Casey, would you like this? And he says yes. So that my strategy was make sure I ask, I get it. And I think that was a big part why I didn't get that necklace, because I don't know, he had his own reasoning, but I was just sitting here like, don't do it. Don't do it to me. Don't make me cry standing up here on this mat in the first 2 seconds of this game. Don't do it, like, internally. And then, of course, like, I'm taking the longest getting ready. Everyone's getting dressed. I don't wear shorts or socks or any of this stuff. I don't even know how to put them on. So I'm over here, and everyone's already back outside by the time we're all dressed, and I'm still inside, and they're waiting on me. And I was like, I'm really blowing it up right now. I'm messing up terribly. But that was not the case. I don't think. I feel like I fit in very well. I made sure I did. I didn't give them enough.
So you played Sequester, which is probably one of the most high-profile live reality games. I know oftentimes people come to these games and they kind of want to they want to like downplay past experience or not bring it up. Were you planning to bring up that, hey, I played Sequester?
Okay, anyone that watched me play Sequester, they knew they had nothing to worry about. If you watched Deana on Sequester, I was a hot mess there. Like, I was not able to simulate. It was horrible for me. The whole experience, I felt like it just was not the situation that I wanted for myself going around. Like, I'm a loud, boisterous person. Everyone on Sequester was loud and boisterous, and I felt like the quiet person. And that very rarely happens, that someone can top me in terms of like being loud and obnoxious and stuff. And it was everyone there. So once there were definitely people that recognized me when I got onto pre-jury. Julia said she knew me. Drew knew me. Obviously Josh knew me. Storm, I knew Storm. But Sequester came up, and I just kept, if y'all actually watch it, you got nothing to worry about. Let's not even let's be realistic and, actually look at what I did there. nothing to worry about in terms of my live
I
games.
will say, you know, Tori on your sequester season versus Tori on Survivor, two different stories.
Two different stories, and that's what I was hoping. I mean, I kind of plays the same if we're honest, but it was a different experience internally for me. So I do feel like that, you know, I kind of turned that stuff around for me and how I was feeling about, you know, the first season or sequester for myself. I do feel like I kind of redeemed myself internally of how I felt about it, how I came out of it. So, yeah.
So you kind of talked through the opening segments of the game. One of the things that happens to your tribe is after, you know, Casey gets nominated, he wins immunity, then he bestows this vote penalty to Keenan, and he brings your tribe together and kind of like explains why he did what he did. What was your thoughts when that happened?
I didn't give a fuck what he was explaining. It wasn't me. I was like, good for it. So I was like, go ahead, say what you're gonna do. Try to do damage control. Keenan can go first if that's the case. But it's not like I don't have this little duck. It's not gonna be me. My little please don't do it face worked. I literally could give two shits less about what he was saying and his excuse and reasoning. I think it was because he said Keenan was strong. I couldn't even tell you to this day. Don't ask me for any quotes of what the reasoning was. I don't know. I don't care. I was not genuinely listening to his reasoning, nor did it pertain to me really to actually care. I just think it's a necklace. That's all I cared about. So, truthfully, no, I didn't care.
So going from this, you go to your first reward challenge. This is kind of that memory matching challenge. How was this for you?
I was like, I got to make it look like I'm good at something. And they're talking about how their memories are. I'm really good at puzzles and stuff like that by myself, sitting in my office. Like, put me in a pressure situation. I don't know what we're talking. Don't quote, like, don't expect anything from me because I don't know what to expect from me. But I told him I was good so that I could get next to James, who knew he was good. And so the entire time I'm just talking to James, like, tell me what you remembered. Tell me what you remember. Because I'm not remembering shit. But I made it seem like I was remembering everything so that everyone thought that I had this, like, great memory. I got some items. Like, I got the trash bag. I felt like that was the most fitting thing that I could possibly win. And we put our toilet paper in it. And I got one other thing. I got some matches. Obviously we learned right then and there rule following like was not my best thing. They're like, leave the tiles where you find them. I'm over here dragging them with me as I go find the other one. And we learned very quickly that I'm not the best listener in terms of rules. So yeah, but I feel like we all like communicated well. I was running up from the line after talking with James about where we thought matches were, telling the other people, hey, there's a match here and here. And we were able to kind of be like, damn, that's really a girl smart, and watch the other side and just see what they're really, who we thought maybe some of their, because there was a little bit of skill. It's hard to remember that shit. Like you act like watching it on a phone might be, oh, I could do that super easy. You could barely even see or remember any, like I couldn't even remember anything. I feel like the matches I got were pure luck, even though like I knew where they were at because I had James telling me. I just feel like it was a lot more than just like, hey, this tile's here, this one's there, because they all look like one damn tile to me by the time it's my turn to go. So, but I liked our tribe's dynamic right then and there. I thought we were a lot of fun.
So after this challenge, you go to your new campsite, your new home away from home for the next couple of days. Talk me through your first impressions of your tribe mates.
So walking into camp, I have Lauren and Angela be like girls together. Obviously, I don't know where Megs was, why she wasn't included. I was like, yup, I'm going to take that. Y'all said it. I didn't say it. Y'all said it. I'm going to hold you to it. So I very quickly, that being said, we'll go into that more. But that was like the very first interaction. I had the interaction with Storm. Hey, I know you. Like, you were just the guy that was trolling me in the game that I just played like 2 days ago. You were trolling. And he's like, yeah, I know. I said, I got you. You got me. Just like that. And coming in, I was just like, I got to make it look like I can do something, even though I'm not trying to do anything. I'm going to sit and build fire because that means I get to sit down on my ass while I build fire. And I got Keenan over here. I don't know how. First, we were going to put our camp in a different spot, like closer towards where the bathroom was. And then we moved it up because there's trees. I'm very good at giving tips and like ideas. I ain't going to do them for you, but I'll give you ideas. So my thing with the fire was trying not to let Keenan chop off my fingers because I wish you could see it. Just like with the machete. And I had the idea to do like little teepee with little twigs to get the fire going. We get it going. Obviously, it was probably like 3 hours after Megan got hers because none of us are wilderness people, and she's over there like I don't know, whatever the hell she's doing. I know that they had fire going very early, and it took us a long time. I also helped with trying to figure out where the shelter should go. Like, we should tie things here, chopping rope, getting wood. I actually did get firewood. There will be pictures that come out of me actually doing something. I did a few things. But mostly my first day was, I'm getting good with people. I'm making sure that I have these connections when I need them. I really liked Meg's because she sat next to me in the car coming up, and I was like, we're going to hit it off. This is going to be awesome. But then she was the quietest. Like, and I'm not going to force someone to talk to me. So I just kind of avoided that situation. I went to the people that would actually whisper with me, you know, to have the conversations with. So I had that coming in kind of thing with Storm and Angela and Lauren. And one of the first conversations I had, I went to Angela, and I don't think she heard me properly. I was like, is there anyone you like? Has anyone said anything about me annoying them like this? Like, so that I can make them my best friend? And she said the name Ryan. I think that she was saying who she liked, but I took it as, oh, Ryan already said some shit. I'm about to be best friends with Ryan. Hey, Ryan, what's up, buddy? And so very quickly, I walked my ass right over to Ryan. I was like, hey, what can I help you with? What you want to do? And that became the tune of like, whatever I can do to make this guy not think that I'm annoying, and to think that I can be good for his game. Kind of just became something that I was focusing on that first day. And that first day I feel like I did so much better than I thought. Like, I thought Lauren hated me at first. She has dry humor. I have like clown humor. Like, I'm a clown. I clown myself. She likes to clown me too. And so I'm like, oh God, she's making fun of me because she doesn't like me. That means she loved me. Our like, we were just meshing like the first second that we came out together, seeing how our humor went together, and that we just like, you like to clown me, I like to clown me too. Let's do it. I opened myself up for that, and I was completely here for it. So very quickly I became close to Lauren and Ryan. I would actually argue whatever. But as time progressed throughout that day, I was noticing that I was developing more connections, with people like Keenan and James. And this is something that's kind of, I always feel like, especially being the last in that pick of the girls, I look at Casey. Casey, don't take this anywhere. Don't take it for more than it is. I look at Casey and I'm like, oh God, this is a pretty guy. I don't fit in. He gonna sit here and be like, get this weirdo, get her out. So I, out of fear of talking to him almost, I don't know what it was, I kind of avoided Casey myself. He wasn't approaching me, but I was purposely like, I would actually approach Megs and like say, hey, how are you doing? Are you? But like Casey, I just couldn't do it. I don't know what it was. Social anxiety. I feel so bad because Casey's a great guy, and he told me like day 2 that I reminded him of one of his best friends. And by then our relationship was already like too far gone for me to prepare anything. But first impressions were, Angela, I saw Angela. I feel like Angela was playing similar to me. We had our group, but she got James on the side. She's very good socially, and I was watching her. Lauren, the bestie, the person that I probably wanted to work with the most out there, but everyone knew it. Like, we got invited to be in an alliance by Casey day 2. Lauren and Deana, like, since you guys are a duo, come join us. So that was the dynamic. I was like, oh shit. Ryan, I loved Ryan. He was probably, I think, like, personality wise, the first person that I like clicked with in terms of like, oh, you're cool as fuck. We have very similar personalities. We're both pretty chill about this shit. And you actually know what you're doing, and you'll help me do it because I don't know the fuck I'm doing. So, and then James and we both related so much on the I don't belong out here. Like, let's cry together. Exactly. My I don't go outside friend. Exactly. That's James. I just felt like I could relate to James in so many ways of like, we're not the most athletic, or we don't go outside. There's someone I can relate to out here that, kind of comes in the same type of boat as me. I mean, he's a lot smarter than I am, but we're going to pretend that that's not the case. But we had that connection. Keenan and it was night. Like, I don't know what happened. I hit it off with Keenan so well. I love Keenan. I can't say enough nice things about this guy. And it felt like he was out trying to start a fire when it was raining at one point, and people were like, just let him do it. He's not going to listen. I'm like, no, I'm going to, hey, Keenan, bud, it's raining. It's probably, you're probably not going to get a fire, and you're going to hurt yourself. Come in. And so, like, I was able to talk to him in a way that was just like, I'm not afraid to, tell you if something, other people are looking at you doing something as being, a little different, like that. And so very quickly we formed that 5. I'm pretty positive that it was actually day 1 that we had decided we were going to vote out Megs, because around that campfire that night, I decided I was going to go next to Storm because Storm is snoring. So I'm like, this must be a good sleeping spot. Maybe I'll fall asleep. And Keenan comes following me around and lays down next to me. And I just try to say, so what you thinking about voting out Megs? And then his ass runs to Lauren because Lauren's like, Deana, come over here because Storm's snoring and I can't sleep. And so I stand up and I kick Storm. Like, oh my God, it was horrible. I kick Storm trying to walk and I go to Lauren and Keenan goes, so I heard the plan is Meg's. And I had to cover my ass so quickly, try to figure out how, I was talking to Storm and Keenan just heard our conversation, but he's totally cool. He's cool. He's going to vote Meg's. Like, nobody just told him like it was unintentional, but like nobody told him to do that. Like I was trying really hard to downplay that. I was trying to have these side alliances, with Keenan because he was a number and trying to do things outside of the group that we had made. I can't remember if it was actually day 2 that the name was solidified, but like day 1, we knew right away that, and I knew too, that this is going to be my 5. As soon as I went to Ryan, I was like, Ryan, who do you like? I like Angela and Lauren. And you like Storm? Hey, well, we should work together. Like, that's just how I posed it. Like, it was always my plan. It didn't necessarily matter who the 5 or the other 4 were to me, as long as I was in a 5. And it just happened to be the best possible 4 I could ever meet. Like, they're amazing people. Another strategy that I had was whenever I was alone with someone, I was going to let them, go ahead, hunt for the idol. You could trust me. Hunt for it. I'll be your watchdog. Like, I'll take guard while you watch or while you hunt. So every time I was just alone, like me and Keenan or me and Ryan, we would be idol hunting in a way that made it seem like you have a reason to trust me. And ultimately it helped me know where the idol was, and as it progressed and stuff like that, make sure that we got it on our side. So I had a lot of weird things that I was doing, but they were all kind of working in a way.
What's your idol strategy? Were you looking to have the idol or always just make sure you knew where the idol was?
I wanted that idol. Who does not want the idol? Who doesn't want it? I wanted to use it to be Captain Save a Hoe for somebody else, not for myself. I don't want to have to use it on me, but I would love to use it on an ally to get them this much closer to me. Ryan was not the worst person to have it. We searched together starting day 1, day 2, whenever, up to the day he found it. We were always, when he was searching, I'm searching. That was when we found like part of an old burnt clue. I was finding feathers to help him make a fake one. Like, we were very, very close, which is why it surprises me that, some of his stuff yesterday. But I felt, for me, we were very, very close. And he was probably my number 1, number 2 in that group of 5 that we had. And so him having it wasn't the worst idea. But at the end of the season, I got the biggest villainous award. And I believe it was because there was a brief second once Ryan found this idol, and I knew he found it. I was standing with him. It was a mad dash. Megs went over to go look in the area we were looking at, and Storm and Angela are looking at a tree. So Ryan and we hop right up. We go right over to the same spot that Megs is at. Like, we're all 3 in the same area looking for this little idol, and he happens to find it like this. And that split second that he found it, I was like, online, Deana would do something very shady here because this idol is not mine. I didn't actually almost do it. I weighed the option of going to Casey, Megs, James, and Keenan and telling them, guys, there was a group that was created. I didn't really want to be in this group, but they left you out. Let me be your savior. Let's they think that they're playing Megs, but let's really play Ryan. Let's do Ryan, get that idol rehid. Like, I had this like thought process. But here's the thing. You go in person. I could never, that thought went there because I wanted that idol. But the thought was, I love, like, Ryan is one of the coolest people I have ever met in a live game before. I can't do this to Ryan. Like, and it was pretty shitty of me to even think about doing it. Like, that would have been a big villainous move. And I thought about doing it. I did not do it. There would be a lot of moving parts in that to try and make sure James, who's close to Angela, Keenan, who is anti-KC because he got the necklace. Like, there was a lot of things, too, that, like, online, I can do that very well. Like, hey, they just added me to a chat that you're not in. Let's fuck that chat up and vote them out. And then they have like this like indebted like idea that like they have to keep working with me the entire game and stuff online. But I didn't do it because I just couldn't. I very, very much liked Ryan. Like, he was probably my favorite person with Lauren there, that I couldn't do it to him as much as I wanted to be a shady shoddy hoe. And I felt like Ryan would use it on me. So when we found it, there was talks of like, maybe we just tell, because I knew about it. So maybe you just tell Storm, because we had a trio. And I was like, and then we talked about, well, if they find out and you play an idol, if you need to play an idol or something, then they get upset you didn't tell them you had the idol. To Angela and Lauren, like we had these conversations about who to tell about it and stuff like that. But I did feel like there was a good chance that the idol would be used on me if it was needed because of the connection that I had with Ryan. So it wasn't a huge thing that I didn't have it ultimately, even though I wanted it. But yeah, I would prefer it to be in my pocket. But if it was going to be anyone else's, Ryan's, I'm glad it was in his. So
how was that first night?
The first night of the game was my absolute favorite night playing. I don't even know how to explain it. We finally go to sleep, and like I'm over here whispering, thinking people can't hear me to Keenan. Everyone can hear me. I can't whisper. Like, let me be honest. And every time I would say something or something, all of a sudden there would become like a group of laughter coming out. Of people just laughing like, oh shit, you're all awake. Okay. And then I get up to go to Lauren and I kick Storm, and that turns into a giggle fest. And then at one point, so I go to come next to Lauren for the fires. It's Ryan, Lauren, me. Keenan follows me over from where Storm is to lay next to me. And at this point, we all had this, I don't do physical touch. I just don't do it. And there's this consent to be snuggled, and I'm like, oh shit, like I gotta agree. I can't say no, don't touch me, because that just looks weird. So I agreed to the consent to be snuggled, and I'm coming to Lauren like with her, literally her hand like this, just give me your body heat, even though you have nothing. I have all the warmth on me. I'll just take the little, the hand warmth, and while our knees touch, and Keenan comes back from behind and bear hugs me, like laying on the ground and my face is kind of face down to the ground, and it causes me to inhale laugh. And at that point, I inhaled dirt all throughout my nose, and I'm choking. And Lauren and I are just dying. We have everyone dying laughing at my stupidity, really. I learned to use a walkie-talkie. Well, didn't know how to do that. I lost my glasses the first night. I was Velma on the ground wearing my glasses. Can't find these shits. It was just, that first night was just so much fun. There was like no sleep except for the 20 minutes I got with Keenan's bear hug, because I was just, at one point I got so cold laying on that ground. I was like, you know what? I'm embracing this. I'm just going to turn towards you. Give me some warmth and I'm going to sleep. So I got about 20 minutes of sleep that night. Storm got hit in the head with a log from the fire. Like, there was just so many weird, like, we don't belong outside in the woods people out here, and just funny experiences that first night that it will never go down. Like, it was my favorite night of the game. It was just the best time. And it was when I felt like I fell in love with 20 minutes of sleep. I don't even know if we ate, I can't remember, like probably crunchy rice to go to sleep on, being too scared to go use the restroom, so like holding my pee all night, like that kind of thing. It was despite all of that, it was my favorite night of the game, because it was a really good bonding experience, just getting to laugh with people and be stupid outside, even if it was at my own expense. But
and I think like this is where you have a larger fireside alliance come together, right? That includes Keenan and James.
Yes, it kind of happened the next morning. We just talked about, I don't feel like James was actually out by the fire. I mean, he wasn't closest in the shelter. So it was like James and then maybe Casey, Megan, or Megs, and they were, I feel like he was more in the shelter, but Keenan was wherever I was at in the fire. And then, so we just decided the people that were sleeping out by the fire, I mean, I think Keenan decided it, and we just said, hell yeah. And I was all team Keenan. So I was like, yeah, we'll get Keenan. Like, I wanted him to be in on any plans and stuff and not left out, because I didn't want him to get the boot early on, just in terms of my own game. So I think it was like kind of the next morning, I liked the fire crew last night to Keenan. Like, I egged it on. I like that fire crew. And he's like, the fire crew? Me too. We should talk to them. I was like, go ahead. And he's naming all the people I'm already in alliance with. I'm like, yep. And James was pulled in kind of by Angela, and just having his own connections with people that just love James. So I feel like that was the case.
So looking at your tribe, how did you feel like you all were going to do in the challenges to coming that day?
I don't know. They had me on their team. Jesus. I have no confidence in myself. We had KC, we had Ryan and Storm. So I was looking at the other team. I felt like we had some people that kind of matched up well. It just came down to what I was able to do, which was sit my ass out so that I didn't do anything. It was just, I thought that we could do very well. I didn't want the option of not doing very well. So it was just me trying to stay positive about that. Obviously, the first thing was what was it? The decorating the ground thing.
Yeah, the SOS challenge. You get to like make something visual that can be seen.
I thought that we needed something. I watched this challenge. Obviously, this is not like a new challenge to Reelfoot. I watched the clips and stuff and how they did like choreography and stuff like that. And I was like trying to give ideas. I thought that we should use something that would show up a little bit better, like toilet paper and stuff. And ultimately, it was just a waste for us, and it was for rewards. So I did not care if we lost any reward challenges. I never felt like I felt hungry one time the entire game. I was not hungry. I was like, I don't care if we eat. I don't care about any of this stuff. I'm here to, play. If we have to lose reward challenges to win immunity, I am here for it. I don't care. So I kind of thought that, yeah, whatever. It wasn't a big deal for reward challenges for me if we lost. So.
How was the slip and slide challenge for you?
I didn't do that shit.
So you sat out on that challenge.
I didn't sit out. Okay. I was in the lineup. I put myself towards the end of the lineup. And for some reason, I was like, let me go ahead of in front of Meg's. Why would I ever not go completely last? So I almost had to go. I almost set myself up to sit there and fucking drown in that lake or whatever, the pond, whatever it's called. I put myself towards the end because although it looked like as it's going, like, oh, I could have done this. My anxiety is so bad that I was like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to fall. I'm going to tumble down this damn hill. I'm not even going to be able to slide. It's going to be horrible. Casey, he scored the first point. And then from there, it was just very entertaining to watch. It was pretty fun to see how everyone else did on the other side, how we did. And at the end of the game, you probably didn't see it. Megs and I decided that we were going to race. We took a whole ass bath in that little soap water. We sat there and said, we're not going to sing today. We took a bath. I beat her down the hill. I got back and I got my ring up before Megs did. And that was just a little bonding thing with Megs. It was fun. It's just how we got to have, we lost, but we're going to still try this. And at that point, I don't know what I did on that water slide, but I had the longest bruises going down my leg. I don't know if it was from the water slide because I feel like it went down on my butt, but I don't remember what I did. But yeah, it was intentional that I sat out of that. I didn't sit out. It was intentional. I put myself towards the end. Obviously, I think I would have gone up against Carly from the lineup, just watching their lineup. And, it would have been probably, I don't know how she would have done. She doesn't know how I'd have done, but it may have been pretty close just in terms of, or she would have been awesome. I just feel like it may have just been both of us rolling down the hill and figuring out who doesn't drown first. I don't know. She's probably more confident in herself than I would have been in me, or myself, but.
Do you also compete in the floor is lava challenge? We had to go across the balance beams, memorize a pattern, come back. Yes.
That's the one with the little blocks and stuff. Yeah. All right, guys, don't hate me when I said I have never been so frustrated in a fucking challenge in my life. I'm sorry. I've already told him all this, so I was just
I want to hear it. I even told me.
How can people not memorize 6 fucking colors in a block? And I'm sitting here like red, blue, 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 blue. Like I have it in 2 seconds. I'm waiting back on the thing. Like, let's go, let's go, let's go. We get there, and towards the end, I'm like, oh, it's not going too bad. We're gonna have to take 2 trips. That's fine. We get back from the second trip and the first trip, and people were like, I already messed up the first one. I'm like, oh fuck, there's no hope here. Like, how do you mess it up? And I go to do my last row because I memorized my first one easily. My second one, I need a yellow block, and there's no fucking yellow blocks left. I'm like, so not only was it out of order, I think somebody messed up with their thing because I'm missing a block, and it was probably the most frustrating thing. But I get it. We're all exhausted. No one slept. It was very frustrating for me because it was not. I feel like James actually would have done a lot better because, all he had to do was listen to us and put them in a thing. Memory, he would have done a lot better, actually walking the plank and stuff, and maybe throwing Storm up there and putting, someone that probably wasn't as great when they said they weren't as good with memory the first day, that kind of thing. It was just frustrating because I felt like,
this was your challenge, and you're like, oh gosh, I can't do it myself.
The exact words was, how the fuck can nobody remember 6 colors? Like, how the hell? It may have been 5 colors. Like, I don't remember if it was 6 or 5. I just could not fucking figure out how no one could remember their colors. Like, they shifted rows, and it was very confusing. Whoever set it up, they were like, let's remember the row, the order we went in. You think that we were counting when we were shuffling our asses down this log, or this plank? No, so nobody actually remembered where they were at in their lineup. what should have happened, and I was tempted to do it, but I don't ever want to take charge and be like the bossy asshole. So someone should have said, you remember this when I did this, when I did it like that. And we would have done a lot better because we were coming back faster the second, and it didn't matter. But if somebody would have just went and said, this is how it should be versus us trying to figure out who the fuck was in what order, it would have been a lot different. I do think it came down to a communication thing, and it's just not figuring that out quick enough. But
Parker notes one of his favorite moments is after the challenge is when you realize that someone you're trying messed up the order and you were telling Amos and him about it.
Bruh, I called Amos and Parker over and I said, you check this because I'm missing a yellow block. Where's my yellow block? Look, it goes right here. I'm gonna name my whole row. I did this to Parker and Amos. I'm like, either it's missing out of this bag, like, because there's no way anyone messed up their row, like, in terms of actually missing a color up. That's not even possible. So I was upset, and I'm just like, check it. Make sure you didn't keep one of our blocks out. Someone messed up. Yeah, I was pretty, I was heated. Okay, just, like, it was stupid, but, yeah.
So, and then you round up the day with your first immunity challenge, and you're coming off of a couple of reward challenge losses, but those don't matter. All that matters is the immunity challenge.
Don't give a shit about those reward challenges. What was the first immunity challenge? You gotta remind me.
So the first immunity challenge was the obstacle course. We had to kind of go up and over the obstacles, do a ladder puzzle that Angela was on, go back to the obstacles, and you have to solve a group puzzle.
So very early on, we're doing this challenge. I feel like I had already hurt my knee at this point. Yeah, I did. I did hurt my knee. So I kept telling everyone, I have no idea how I hurt my knee. I don't know what the fuck happened. I know what happened. I was jumping over logs with Ryan trying to look for a damn idol, but I can't tell him that's what happened. I can't say I'm over here being an idiot trying to gallop through the forest looking for an idol. Can't tell him that. So I don't really know. And I was terrified. Like, you hurt yourself in a game. I'm like, oh, fuck. But luckily everyone else said, like, Casey and Meg's not talking as much. And then Keenan kind of being, a little bit, different playing and stuff kind of worked to my advantage because they still wanted to keep my ass in even though I wasn't doing shit or able to do shit. Like, there was points I couldn't even fucking walk, and I was just like, bitch, you better get your ass up. I had Lauren's little small ass toting my ass around at one point because I was just like, bro, don't let them see this shit. I can barely walk. I really have no idea what I did. Keenan fixed it, and we'll talk about that. But so for this challenge, they were like, oh, Deana's good at puzzles. She should do this ladder puzzle. One, I'm already shitting bricks because I am good at puzzles. But I'm like, bro, they want to see that I'm good at puzzles. You know what? Guys, my knee hurts. I don't want to lop. I don't know if I could have hopped from things to things, to be honest, because I was having troubles just walking up to this damn thing. I try to give Angela, like, I have nails, which you do. It's very easy to look at this puzzle and do a ladder puzzle. Just look at where the holes are. But if you don't know, stick your fingertips in it, whatever lines up. Just it's very easy when you have, and I think that I never actually went up and saw it. If it was big enough, that's the easiest route that I would have done. I'm sitting back and I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, Angela didn't even really want to do this initially. Like, they wanted me to go do it. I kind of was like, nah, bitches, I ain't doing it. And this is not going to bode well when we lose. Like, I'm doing too much trying to sit out at this point. And to see, like, I'm standing there on the side just watching like a damn hawk as they're racing back. And Ryan, he's got this little piece. I'm watching this puzzle. Like, that puzzle has a million solutions. And they just happen to find one of the millions that just came like that. And Ryan really pulled it out for the team. And I'm over here, like, on the side acting like I did some shit. Nope, I was just cheering. I didn't have to do anything, and I'm not going anywhere. My strategy worked, sit my ass out, and they still won. So I was very excited. And see, it was an amazing comeback. Thank you, Josh's knee. You didn't do much for me in that fucking game, but you did something for me right there. You sat on a puzzle piece, and I didn't have to worry about nothing that night. So I'll choose the Josh's knee for that one.
So over the course of the second day, you mentioned that on day one, you were kind of avoiding KC, and you had, like, small talk with Megs, but nothing serious. Did anything develop on that end, or you were kind of...
At that point, they approached Lauren and I to be in a group with, like, them and maybe James. But every time a group was talked about from KC, it was always with Megs. It was never like, hey, can I get something? And so it was very obvious in that group, like, where his immediate bond was going to be, because the two of them didn't really hide. I don't know if it was just by chance that they were always together. I don't really know. But we all saw them as being together. And KC is a threat. And so we're like, well, who's Casey's right-hand woman? Megs. And so it went down like that. And originally, Lauren and I, we actually talked about it. We were going to say yes to this second group of 5 and then try to get to vote the person out that's in the middle of both groups, being Keenan. Casey didn't want to do that vote, but we had talked about how the smart thing for us to do is to hedge our bets in this. Was better than one group of 5? I mean, as long as they don't fucking talk, 2 groups of 5 with different people. I mean, that again requires, people not to run off and say stuff like, but we didn't go that route because we were like, well, who would you want to vote out to KC? And he panicked and said Storm or something like that, and then saw us go back talking to Storm. Of course, we told Storm because at this point, anything that I said to KC started coming back to me that I had said it. So I was actually going to include him in on the plan and tell him, because what does my ass do? Make sure that I'm good with everyone. I'm not going to give you a reason to be upset at me. I wanted to tell Casey, I think, and the fact that he was telling me, I actually wanted to tell Megs too. We knew where the idol was at. I didn't really understand the whole blind sighting stuff. I guess there could have been more idols out there, advantages. I don't know. I would have loved to tell Megs, just, one human to another, hey, this is probably what's going to happen. But nobody else wanted to. And even if they wanted to, it just felt like it wasn't the nicest thing to do. But I guess it changed up when it came to James, because I don't know. But we just didn't tell Megs, and I was told to leave Casey out. And at that point, I was really terrified. If I told Casey what was happening, he'd run back and say, Deana told me. And they would all be upset at me for telling him where the vote was going. So I did not do that.
Well, this will have major repercussions because KC will end up jumping ship as a result of this. Do you wish you had just told them that anyways and said, hey, this can't go anywhere, but this is happening?
Bro, I went out 5th. I could have gone out 1st. I'm just going to keep it how it was. It's fine. I wish I would have told him maybe on the way to tribal council or some shit, because he said he would have just jumped on the vote if we just would have told him. I don't know. My fear literally came from knowing that he had already gone back and repeated 3 or 4 conversations. His first thing was like, the first conversation when he said, Deana, I see you. You're a very good strategist. You're going to win one of these things. If not this one, I was like, oh, fuck. Either you're ego stroking right now or you actually see my ass. Oh, no, because I know damn well I'm doing really well for myself. I didn't know, but that scared me that he saw it. But everything is just because what I was saying to him was coming back to other people that I opted not to tell him. Had nothing come back to me whatsoever that he had said, or anything regarding my name, or a conversation that happened with Lauren, or anything like that. And anything, it would have just been a different story for myself in terms of trusting that I wouldn't have gotten thrown under the bus by him.
So, looking at your tribe, how would you rank the players from the most important for your game to least important in the game at the end of the day?
I was thinking about this when you were asking everyone throughout. This is where it's a little bit hard for me, because like going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's actually pretty hard for me to do, because
I can tiers?
I could put more people on a tier.
Let's do tiers.
I'm going to do top tier. This is where it's very interesting, especially because one of my top tiers was not in my group of 5. I'm going to stick with 3. I'll stick with 3 tiers. I can put everyone into 3 tiers. My top tier would be Lauren, Ryan, and Keenan. Surprise, Keenan is up there. Second tier comes Storm, Angela, throw James there. And the bottom, like everyone else, Experience Hunter Tribe, it would have been Casey and Megs. So
wow, because one thing I was wondering while watching the game was I was wondering, like, I saw Keenan being very invested in you, but I was wondering, like, how much was it being reciprocated? Like, I wasn't quite sure just from watching.
This dude, like, on Survivor where people swear on their kids and shit, and you're like, why are you doing that? Why you don't do that? He made me swear on my kids that I wouldn't vote him out. So I worded what I said. I will not vote you out this time, and if I'm going to vote you out, I swear I will tell you like that. If there comes a day that your name is coming up, and that's what I have to do, I'll tell you. I swear. I don't know. Like, my perception of Keenan is it was pretty like we just meshed very well. Like. I felt like Keenan, if I just said, hey, do this, he would do it. Like, that's not fair to say. He could have done his own thing. But I felt like he would have actually given me a conversation about it and not try to push me to do his own, like, right then and there. Like, as the game progressed, that could have changed. But right then and there, I saw him more as somebody on the playing field that, like, could be a direct number in terms of, like, maybe not them convincing me to do something, but me convincing them to do something, which I kind of prefer that more, because I like, to have a nice story to tell them, like, hey, I got them to do this versus, oh, I was told to do this kind of thing. So Yes, it was very much reciprocated towards Keenan. I don't. He kept me warm at night too. He was funny as shit. He cracked me up, unintentional or not. Like he was just a good guy. Like Keenan's just a good guy, and so yes, he would be on my top 3 surprisingly, just in terms of actually like seeing that I could play the game with them and trust what's being said to me.
Is there anything else notable that happened on that second day?
Bro, I don't know. We ate some food. That might have been the day that we'll talk about the food we ate. I don't eat pork. Everything they gave us had some damn pork in it. So good thing I wasn't hungry. But there was mashed potatoes. These little, everyone's talked about the food that they thought was nasty. These little instant ass mashed potatoes from the dollar store that probably 50 cents a damn cup. It tastes like dirty sink water. And everyone's sitting here like this, licking their damn fingers, thinking it was the best thing that they had to eat. And I was over here trying not to vomit. It was so nasty. I hated it. The cold beans, they were I don't remember what order we ate the food in, but the beans that Ryan shot on yesterday, those were the best thing we had. He is tripping, and I will stand up for cold beans. I don't think I'll ever heat up a can of beans again because them shits were delicious as they were. I don't know. We ate some, and that was the day I feel like Casey cut an apple. I went to culinary school prior to everything, so watching him cut a fucking apple was another one of those things that's like, what the fuck are you, like, it got under my skin. Instead of just like cutting it in half and coring it, it was like, he's like cutting the side off, and so there's like, it was, I took apple cutting. It just really bothered me. That was, strategy. My other strategy coming in, I will never be in charge of somebody's food. Somebody's angry, cranky, wants more rice, and I'm like, nah, you get 2 tablespoons. That's all we got. They're not going to be mad at me today. They're not going to be mad at me if that rice turns out inedible. They're not going to no. So even though I went to culinary school, my intentions were never to make any fucking rice, and I was never going to do that. Once I came over to Blue Team, they were like, Deana, you're going to make rice. And I'm like, I'm going to do what? But I didn't make it. I gave pointers, but Josh's he didn't like it as much. But I like Josh's rice really a lot. It was mushy versus the crunchy. But
so you rather have someone overcook the rice than undercook the rice?
Yes, but I ate all of Meg's, and I gave more than half of Josh's away. So I don't know.
So you at least escaped the cooking duty while you were on the Yellow Tribe. Yes,
I did.
Okay.
Except for cutting an apple because.
So you took the apple away from Storm and said, "Let me cut this for you."
From KC.
From KC.
From KC. I was just like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? You're wasting like half this apple, and it had dirt all over it with the nope." Anyways, but yeah, I don't remember anything else day 2 other than just. We had that first community win. It felt great. We were bonding. I got my groups. I'm continuing to have my groups, my people on the side, having conversations, actually having conversations with Casey and Megs this time. Casey saying he likes me. I'm like shocked over here in the corner, like, dude likes me. Cool. Maybe I'll actually work with him. That was pretty much day 2. Wait, is that the day we get? No, I don't know. Okay, keep going. What's next?
Yeah, so let's jump to day 3. Day 3, the day kicks off with Drew getting voted out, who you'll meet later.
Drew was in my starting room, and like I was like, oh, I love this dude. Sharif hated my damn guts, as we found out, but I love Drew. I'm an anxious person, so I'm not talking with him, but I'm the production. I'm sitting here like, hey, can you offer them this? Can you offer them this? It's like trying to like be nice because I feel like a fat ass. Like I feel bad just sitting here eating food in front of everybody and not sharing. So that thing's going down. I'm annoying Sharif, but I think that like right away, Drew and I. And so I was very sad. I didn't really see Drew being, because I see him as being a little bit more physical, and those tend to be the people that you keep on. Me, I don't give a shit who you keep in the game as long as it's me. Get out the physical people first, smart people. I don't care as long as I'm in that group of 5. I don't care who's in that 5 or the other 4 people. I did not care if Casey could have gone out first if he didn't have that. I just didn't care. But I just did not see other people thinking kind of similar in that way. I didn't think Drew would be the first boot. And I was I just was like sitting on the porch, made me sad. I was like, but it wasn't me. I wasn't out first. That went through my head too.
Well, let's say Drew ends up on the Yellow Tribe instead of maybe James or so. Like, if Drew was on your starting tribe, would you have worked with him?
I don't know. If he got done with other people, I don't know. Don't have me saying something. I don't know. There's a potential. Okay. I think he would have fit in a little bit more at Yellow just based off things that I've heard, but I don't know. I like the group that I ended up working with, so don't know. Put him there, take someone else away. Very possible. Also possibility that he was first out again. I don't know. I just don't know.
So from here you go to what's initially a immunity challenge and later becomes a reward challenge. This is where you have to go search the balls in the haystacks and you have to do the vertical table maze. Where were you in this challenge?
I was on the maze. My ass was not running.
I
I hurt my knee, remember?
chance.
I hurt my knee, but I also was not running. That was never going to happen. My tagline is the only running I do is the running of my mouth, and that does not change. So they're like running, and I'm setting up. Lauren's over here like, hell yeah, I'm going running, and I'm like, I'm sitting, and I don't know why I stood up for that table maze. I'm short, and instead of backing all the way up, I don't know why. I'm like, let me stay up close to this little table to do it. I was a second to go. And I just kind of was listening. I didn't watch the other side, but I heard something about a big jump. So I said, I'm going to do something crazy here. I'm going to make a big jump and just hope this shit works because I'm moving mad slow over here with my little T-Rex arms. And so I yanked that shit and it goes all the way up to the top. But then I got to get my ball all the way to the side and I'm short. So I have to crouch down and I can't even see the damn hole because like I'm up underneath. Like,
oh, I remember that. Everyone's like, dude, the fall. And you're like, I can't see.
I can't even see where I'm supposed to go. Like I'm having a panic attack over here because I hear that they've got their second one. I'm like, oh, okay. But I was right over the hole, that big jump. It did it for me. And I played the challenge after the go. If anyone watches this and it plays in the future, just yank that shit. But yeah, that's what I did. I did not run. It was pretty scary that they couldn't find that ball. I had a feel like obviously I wanted another immunity win. Who wouldn't? That would have meant Megs was not there. Everyone was very upset about it. And I was just like, once they said food, I was like, firewood is what I was more interested in because Megs got half a peanut butter jelly sandwich. I don't eat pork. They bring out a pepperoni pizza and I'm like, well, shit, I'll eat this and I'll take the pepperoni off. I should have gone for that peanut butter sandwich. That shit looked good. I was about to look, that whole Survivor reference. I got one. That whole licking the chocolate thing off. Seriously, yeah, Cerie's fingers. I remember that. Look, I got one. I was about to do that with Meg's fingers. So,
were you surprised or shocked just like the sheer amount of Survivor fandom that you were surrounded by during this game?
Yes. I think that I was shocked about every conversation. I can talk a lot about pop culture. I can talk a lot about the stuff that I'm into. And everyone's into Survivor. Like everyone here plays Survivor. And I guess I can't argue I'm not into Survivor. Like I used to watch it. I've watched all of the seasons minus the last like 6. It's not all of them, but I played online quite a bit. I'm just surprised at how much people can fucking remember. Like how do your brains work that you can recall what somebody did 30 years, or that's not even 30, but like, 10 years ago on a game, who they voted out, how they did. I just don't see how you guys retain this information. It is like all the Survivor fans, and they're just having these conversations about that, about sports, about everything else. And I'm like, yep. I'm just standing in the corner. Sounds good. Just trying to act like I belong in this conversation whatsoever when I have no business there. I was just shocked at how many people, analyze games, study games, and love games just as much as I do. And everyone that came obviously came to play. And I was pretty surprised about just watching all of that go down and trying to figure out how people's brains worked. Yeah, that was that for me, I guess.
So then you have your real immunity challenge, and this is the idle hands challenge. You have to try to knock off the little idols off of like the little platform people are carrying. Did you go up in this?
No, I didn't. If you have to ask me, no, I didn't. No, I did not. It is pouring rain. So I had worn my shoes are soaked, everything is soaked, and we're going back out in the rain. It's just horrible, like everything is wet. And this looks like a scene from a movie, and I'm like, another opportunity for me to fall on my face and break something. And I could probably sit out of it. I got enough people that'll say yes if I want to sit out. I've hurt my knee, remember? Just because I didn't want to be responsible for us not getting a point. And then in hindsight, like I always do this to myself where I let my fear kind of just like, and I was like, shit, that kind of looked fun. Like it was fun watching you guys do it. Like I would have had like, if it was that one, like where they used to, I know that they don't do anymore with like the mats and stuff where you wrestle and shit, my ass would have been, I would have let me play, let me play this one. I don't care who I go against. I'm ready. That kind of stuff I find fun, but I'm already short. They're going to put me up against somebody tall. Like I just had all these things that are just like me completely failing at this. And that's why I did not opt to do that one.
Well, your tribe wins this again, so you're now 2 for 2 for immunity.
Look,
victories.
me sitting out is doing something here. Let's be honest.
every time I sit out, we win.
I mean, we're gonna talk about that because the next one we lost.
Well, and
Yeah.
so that gives us to the well, I guess prior to this last immunity challenge, is there any strategy or anything going on? Is there a lot of just kind of waiting for the plans
Waiting.
in place? You know what you're doing. It's just like, will the shoe drop? Will we lose?
This is the times that I'm like, just, running through my brain. Should I be an evil bitch, or should I just be a loyal one, like here in the game, like making those decisions for myself. But no, it's sitting and waiting. I felt good with the group that I made, continuing making those bonds, letting people clown the shit out of me, whatever they needed to do for me to just have them feel good with me. That was all that was really occurring for me in terms of I guess communication wise. And we were just sitting and waiting to win or waiting to send Megs home, sadly. But that was the reality.
Well, you finally get to that last challenge today. This is the one where you have to maneuver the ball through the chicken coop, drop it through the PVC pipe, and then to a table maze. And I think you were on the chicken coop?
Yes. Okay. So I say that every challenge I participated in and we lost. But if you go back and watch, I was probably the second person to go, or maybe first, I don't remember. But I passed the person that I was facing up again on the other side. Those little nails, y'all call me crazy, but I was sitting here like a damn chicken, through this thing, just guiding that thing up here. But everyone else has pointed out, I'm like 5 foot nothing. Lauren's 5 foot nothing. We're short. And they put me and her. I'm over here standing on my tiptoes trying to do something. Okay, that part seems stretching as far as I possibly can to get a damn ball to go down the tube. That was okay. But they made me run 1,000 damn times. And I don't run. I was like, and they finally got it. I thought I was going to have to stay there the entire time. I knew I wasn't doing that table maze. That shit would have been on the floor the second I picked it up. So I stepped myself back, and I was just watching, Hawkeyeing it over. As you heard, I'm great at giving ideas, not doing it myself. And I'm like, I'm listening to the other side. I was like, y'all bounce that shit. You're not getting it. It keeps falling every time. Bounce it. They bounce it, and the very first time they bounce it, it goes in. And I think they already had 2 on the other side, and they just weren't able to do it again. It was actually a very cool strategy to use because it worked. I think the best thing would have been to bounce it, get it towards the center, then stop and actually do the maze part. But they just kept going like this. It was just hilarious to watch. It was, again, a lot of fun just to be there for that.
Who decided that you were going to be on the chicken coop for the challenge?
Baby beef. me myself. I probably said, I'm not holding a damn piece of pipe. That's something that requires that, if I mess it up, it's messed up the entire thing. Chicken coop, I can drop it, and that's seemingly even with big fingers, eventually you can get that down. And I felt like I had that, I had the extra 1.5 inch little sharp ass nails that I can hold it by, and it came out to my advantage. So I'm pretty sure I volunteered myself to go on to the chicken wire because it's what I wanted to do. But don't ask about anyone else. I don't know.
So your tribe finally loses, the winning streak ends. Talk to me through the strategizing prior to this tribal council. What was going on for you? Or was there very much at all, considering how kind of set in motion this plan was at this point?
So we had already gamed, and I was like, let's just tell Megs, and all this stuff. We had already gamed for the last 2 days, and we knew what we were doing. Obviously, there's this thought going through my head, well, what if they're thinking what I'm thinking, and somebody's on to me, and they see that I'm actually doing pretty well at strategizing, making sure I'm good with everyone, and therefore they're playing me about playing Megs. I have these thoughts, these things going through because I would do it to them. I don't know if anyone else could do it to me, but I would do it to them. I have this thought process going in. So we come back into camp and everyone says, okay, so I guess this is where we break up. And it's a shitty part of the game because somebody's got to go. And we just kind of all knew what was going to happen here, that we're all going to go off and talk and have conversations. And whatever was being said by KC was coming back. He wanted to do Ryan, Lauren, he may even said my name at one point. I don't know. My goal, James was someone that I noticed had good relationships, kind of even with the people that, he had it with that 7. He also had it with the people on the outside. They wanted him in any group they included. So whenever I saw James go off with KC, if you go watch the little videos, whose ass was right there? Mine. I was like, I'm going to be high. Third one here. Y'all totally want me. And I'm sitting here looking at the camera the entire time, side-eyeing it, and they ain't gonna say shit right now. I'm right here. They're not gonna make any plans because if anyone can do it, it's gonna be these 2. Because I really feel like I had pretty much everyone else on lock. So it was just us all splitting off. It felt so fake and weird to me because Megs is doing like one-on-one dates instead of going off like with a group of 2 or 3 people. She's doing one-on-one dates, and I'm like, okay, so we're going to talk. I'm like, do I say anything? And I'm just like, well, I decided to tell her, well, Casey's now saying to do Lauren. You know, that's what was said to me last. Like, just still trying to play this dumb, I don't know what's going on kind of thing. And I just felt very weird about it, and I feel very. I don't like that we did that because I really like Megs, but it's a game. It's a game. However, we all knew what we were doing. It just was making sure that they didn't do anything different for me at that point, making sure no conversation was able to happen that changed plans. So when someone would have told me, I felt like at that point, and they did, whatever was being said, we were all coming back telling each other. So
were you happy that Casey was targeting Lauren over yourself?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I felt bad for Lauren because I really wanted to work with Lauren. I felt bad for anyone going home first, but again, or like on our tribe. But at that same time, my gut is not going to be my ass. That's all I care about. But I have this heart that like, it really hurts that I know it's a game. I was hurting really badly just knowing that somebody else is going to go here. And so I did not take joy in it. I mean, did it have probably not cause a lot of stress for me knowing that my name was being thrown out there? Yes. Did it cause any less because it was my number one ally? Maybe not, but I felt pretty confident that she was good. So,
James is just coming back. He wants to hear again about your thoughts on the mashed potatoes.
They taste like ass, and you guys are all lying. When I see you next, I'm buying some, and I'm making you try them when you're not hungry, because you guys are full of shit. Okay, there you go. I'm very opinionated about these mashed potatoes.
I mean, you have the culinary background that have these opinions.
Tastes like ass. I don't care what they say. It's disgusting. But
so you go to your first tribal council, and things go pretty much to plan. Megs is completely blindsided along with KC.
Ame, our camera person. I don't know if you were watching that. What that woman did to me.
What did she do?
I'm already are they double agenting me? Were they thinking similar, I can't say that similarly to how I was thinking, and maybe they are. And then when she comes with this camera, focused on me, click, 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 click. I don't want to see that reel because I know it was right up my nose, and I know I was like making the ugliest faces you could possibly make. I was having an internal panic attack. I'm also verbally saying, "Can you please get out? Please stop doing this to me. I know that I signed a contract. Get out of my face." Terrified. But it went as planned. There was no funny business. There was no Deana's written down. And we all kind of knew that the duck was going to go to Angela. I thought that maybe Megs could have been hurt by me because we had some good conversations. And I wrote in with her, but it went to Angela, which didn't really matter at that point because everyone did what they said. I was solidified right there. It was I wasn't going to try to do anything else finicky or weird. And it went to plan. My ass didn't go home. So I felt like that first tribal council was as good could be for me. Yeah. Even though it was Megs.
Now, this is the only time this tribe's going to come together and vote together. Had you all, let's say, gone to second tribal council, who would have you tried to go home?
No, you know that. KC.
Yeah, I know.
We all know. I mean, but KC, watch the other ones. We all said it would have been KC. I mean, he could have scrambled around, and he was a challenge asset. So the funny part is I was advocating for KC. I was saying maybe we shouldn't do KC next. He's going to help win challenges. And he said he likes me. And I really was doing that, having serious talks with Lauren. I don't know if anyone else would have been on board with it, but I was trying. James and I had talked about it. Keenan and I, we had actually had some actual conversations. So I would have gone outside. It would have been one of the 3 people not in my 5. And for me, I don't know that KC, I would have been dude, KC, I don't know if that's what I would have done, but everyone else would have wanted to done KC. I could try to push it on to someone like James or Keenan or something. I could see that being something that I tried to do had he not been repeating everything I fucking said, but didn't matter. He got me first.
So let's say things went really poorly that initial day, and you went to all 3 tribal councils, and Meg and KC go for the first 2. What happens the 3rd tribal council, or what would you have wanted to happen?
Again, I'm sticking with that 5. That 5, that was it. So I probably would have gone Case. Keenan is someone I wanted to keep, to be honest. He was up there top 1 for me. So it would have been Megs, James, KC, probably in that order for me. Just in terms of where I saw my personal game being like with those connections. I saw Casey wasn't good with anyone. James had people that he was good with, you know, he's very likable. So I think that he would have gone down for me in terms of who I would try to get out second versus third, but it would have gone in that order for me.
Now, Angela receives the duck, and the duck ends up being her ability to design her own tribe along with Josh at a summit. Then this is what happens next. Imagine if you were there instead of Angela in the help design your own tribe. What would your swap tribe have looked like?
I'm tempted to answer differently than I actually would based off of what Brian's ass said last night. I think he done forgot me because the rest of the game went on and I wasn't there. I think he would have picked me because we were very close. But I would have picked Storm, Ryan, and I would have let Angela go over. I would have kept Pete, Lauren on my side. I see, like, I want to keep Keenan, but I would have felt obligated, especially because everyone else knows that I picked these people.
Yeah.
Stuff to not let them know that I'm that close to Keenan and stuff. So I would put Angela. I would have done what she did to me. So it made sense. She thought that socially, I'd be the best, and I would stupidly, Josh. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I told 2 people that I knew you, and I was like, it's good because we'll work with him when he comes over. I was trying to game for us before you even made it over there. I know you never opened your mouth, but I'm a loud mouth, and I definitely did to 2 people. But it was in hopes of like us all being able to work together. So when I found out about it, I was not actually that sad that I was going over there because I thought I had my buddy Josh. But
yeah, so let's talk about this new tribe, right? So you're now in the blue tribe camp, which is not as nice as the yellow tribe camp, from what I've gathered.
Man, they're dirty for that. I did tell them that in the future they should do a challenge, and the loser of that challenge gets that camp. But I'm not complaining this season because my ass wasn't that losing tribe that stuck at blue the entire time. It was just horrible. The whole camp setup was like walking in mud. James slips and falls on his ass within the first 2 seconds of walking down. And I'm like, it's James, who's already fragile. I'm like, I can't even help you because if I try to help you, my ass is coming down too. They've got this whole entry system. I got to clean my damn feet in a mud pit. Like, how am I supposed to clean my feet when I'm ankles deep in mud? But okay, let me try to figure this out. And for anyone that is uncoordinated, that camp was horrible. And I did look for an idol there. Very quickly coming in, I was like, where could it be? There were some interesting looking logs and stuff. But I assumed, someone would have found it by that point. So I didn't look too hard. Would have assumed, and I was told Megan found it. We think Megan found it by Josh within the first few seconds. But
yeah, James would like to say he fell in the first 20 seconds.
Okay, I may not. That's true.
And Josh says he remembers you rolling your eyes behind Barbara's back because she told you to take your shoes off before getting on the car.
I was like, the fuck am I taking my shoes off? Actually, in hindsight, it was very clean. I had the best sleep I had the entire time that night. In that little shelter that they had built on the mud. And yes, I rolled my eyes in a very hard fucking sit, not towards her, just like, damn it, how the fuck am I supposed to do that? Clean my feet in mud? They're like, I didn't understand how they wanted me to clean my feet. So Keenan cleaned my feet for me. He helped me.
So talk me through your impressions of your 3 new tribe members. You're meeting Barbara, Sharif for the first time, and you know Josh a little bit already.
So I just hosted Josh a few months before in a game, and he went out pretty early, but something about Josh's brain, the way that he was thinking, he had the same damn strategy work with moms in my online game, and he didn't do well on that, but he carried it over here. I've always messed with Josh. I think Josh he has a great heart. He's a good person, and nothing has changed me thinking that. But I also knew he was very, 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 very smart. And I thought that he would see me as an asset versus a liability, and that's not the case. That's not how it went. He showed me as an asset. I don't give a shit what he said. I mean, he kind of agreed. But I knew Josh, and just meeting him in person just kind of solidified everything that I had felt about him. This dude's smart. He's very enjoyable. I like Josh a lot. His big thing is he didn't want people his age and stuff, and I didn't even consider his age. You're just smart. You like Survivor. You're fun to be around. For my brain, I could talk Star Wars and stupid shit with you all day. Sharif, he cracked me up. He was funny. He was a lot of fun. I think the hardest that I had connected with was Barb, and it's just we were on kind of different wavelengths, and I got the sense that maybe she didn't like me all the time. maybe my own insecurities, I just got a sense. And maybe then it was my eye rolling about the damn mud. Maybe I did it to myself. I don't know. I just got a sense, you know, and there were times that maybe she'd say something about Keenan that I was just like, oh, I love Keenan, you know, that I just didn't agree with. And so I didn't feel like she and I connected very well. But my ass sure was trying to connect and jump ship. I see as soon as we're switched over, Casey, and what do? I walk my ass right up to Josh. Well, I wouldn't trust him. He repeats everything you say. But, you know, I'll work however you want. But you guys are good. You know, you got me. Like, just trying to make sure that I'm cool with Josh, doing everything I can, which included telling them, hey, Ryan found the idol. Yes, I did that to Josh. But I told Josh, and Josh told me he's his closest person was Sharif. And I was like, cool. Then that means I'm going to make sure Sharif has the same type of knowledge. So they know that I'm serious. And maybe that does something for me here. Like, at this point, KC has told him there's like a strong girls alliance, but Angela was bottom of my 5 for me. So I think it's pretty interesting that was what was given off. The girls were running it and we had a big group. And, cause that's not where I actually felt myself falling, in that, but.
Well, that perception though, doesn't play you any favors.
It did not. And that's what happened to me. That's why Josh was okay with doing it. He says it's because he, you know, playing somebody you know and not being able to call your own shots. I think that I was misunderstood sometimes. I was talking to Josh with the intentions of actually, this is a friend of mine. I want my friend to do well. If I can't do well, somebody that I know is a good person and that has a good heart, I want him to do well too. And so I think that what I said was, I told him, like, I was very open and honest with Josh about everything. He obviously didn't tell me he had a little bit of a little advantage already. He hit out some stuff for me, but I wanted to be as honest as possible because I genuinely intended on doing well with Josh as far as I could, like, as far as I could. And that probably would have come down, like, if you watch my confessionals, it was saying, if I can survive this, I'm not even upset I'm put over here because I have this opportunity to make the connection with Josh, Sharif, Barb, and have it back over there. Like, I'm in the perfect position to make the decisions that I need to make, which could have very much been taking out the strongest person, Sharif, who I saw as being the strongest, taking out Angela for me over here, like kind of going back and forth and just making those decisions for myself, just who I thought could beat me. That could have been a route that I took where Josh could have been right. I could have run my ass right back to Yellow and said, good luck. But at least he would have, you know, I would have tried to keep his name. If I did that, I would have tried to keep his name out of it as much as I could. I would have been like, hey, we should do this person first or this person first. And I would try to be an advocate for him that way. But that was my goal. And I did tell him, I can't promise that I can work with, you know, I'm not going to set myself up to be in final 4 or 5 with 3 of your allies, one who's not really talking to me much. Barb's first words for me is, I just did a confessional and they asked me who I wanted out next, and I said you, and I was like, that's great. Thanks, Barb, for the honesty. She's like, I can just tell you're social, but I would love to work with you. I was like, what the fuck? Why would you do this to me? I'm like, that was like our first interaction. So I was just like, I was trying to tell Josh, like, I really want to do well, you and I to do well, but it may not be us both doing well with all the people that we intend to do well with. And that was okay for me. It was not okay for him.
Parker wants to know, at what point did you tell Josh and Sharif that Ryan had an idol?
They want to say it was like the first 5 minutes. It may have been. I want to at least give myself 6. I didn't say, hey guys, Ryan has an idol. James and Keenan, they were none the wiser. I said, so Josh, tell me everything that, like, we finally got. It was not the first 5 minutes. It was like, by the time I actually got to talk to Josh's ass, it was a good minute because we weren't trying to let anyone know that we knew each other on this side. So I just came up and we just started kind of, you know, whispering back and forth. And I said, so Ryan has the idol over there. I have a group, because I'm genuinely like, my dumb trusting ass who like, it's like, this guy has every reason to work with me and no reason not to work with me, to be honest, is going to tell him everything, because my long game is Josh, because he's a friend of mine. It's stupid. Don't play friends. Ugh, don't do it.
This is not a good season for friends.
No, and it's my own stupidity for even trying to do that shit. But I don't even fault him for any of it. So I told him by the time we could talk, I don't think it wasn't right away, because whenever it was, I don't know. But because he told me Sharif was his next person, by the time we're going to bed to lay down in the shelter, I'm next to Sharif, and I'm like, Sharif and I finally start talking. I'm like trying to build that same thing with Sharif, because I know this is Josh's number 1.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure that he has the same type of thing, so that they think. And this way, I also thought, I go back to the other side. Whenever they want to do Ryan, they're going to come to me. And I get to make that decision and tell either, be the Ryan, they're voting you. You might want to play it and flush the idol if it doesn't even need to be played because they don't have the votes. Like, I was setting myself up in a position by giving this little bit of information for them to trust me with what they wanted to do, making it to merge. And it worked, but that's what my thought process was. I feel like it was a pretty logical one. So I told them, I don't know how soon after it was. It wasn't right away, but I definitely told them that first night, Sharif and Josh. So.
Now, given that you're on a tribe with KC and you saw that KC just immediately goes to jump ship, right? You're probably like, okay, one of the original yellows is probably going home if this tribe loses.
Bro, yeah. I saw KC was there, and bro, that's when I started sweating. I almost got Botox before coming out here, so I didn't sweat, and this shit made me sweat, and then I was like, oh, hell no, I should have done it. That moment, I was like, I'm going to try with KC. We know what KC's going to do, but I thought, in my stupidity, it didn't really fucking matter what he tried to do. Even if we didn't do him first, I can get better with him because I have an in on this side. Oh. That was my entire...
Josh will say that retrospect, voting Keenan would have been his better move to keep both you and KC in as potential alliance members.
I had to break fucking Keenan's heart, y'all. Y'all did some dirty shit to me, only for it to be me. They sat me. They're like, it's gonna be Keenan. I'm looking at Keenan like I'm gonna cry. Remember how I told you I'd tell you if they're gonna vote me? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's gonna be you. I'll let you know. Like, having a panic attack because I feel so bad. Like, and now that was part of the time where I was saying, well, this is why we don't tell people, because it's hard as shit. It's sad. Little did I know, my dumb ass was the one being voted. I mean, I kind of suspected it. If you watch confessionals, I didn't suspect it, but I thought Josh is a very intelligent player. He's sneaky. Have the opportunity to get somebody out that you think, and I think that he saw my game for being, I was pretty much in the numbers on the other side, and the only one that was actively in the numbers in case he thought I was like running shit, and he was telling people I was running shit. So, I mean, I'll take that. But I just didn't want to not trust him. I should have got my ass up and hunted for an idol. I did not. I should have. I looked a little bit, but I probably would have found it. I was not looking in the right spot. So
at what point, hold on, I need to find this comment here. Yeah, so at what point do you make the fatal flaw of telling people you went to culinary school and that puts you on rice duty?
I didn't make it. So, John, okay, I don't know why the fuck I said that. I was just saying, okay, when you make rice at home, it's very different when you make it on a campfire. But Josh was making it in a way that I was like, the fuck are you? Again, one of those, the fuck are you? But his rice was more cooked than anything that we had over on Yellow Tribe. So I was incorrect. I said so. I liked his rice, even though I didn't finish it. I gave the rest of mine to KC. I don't know why I decided to say the only few things I talked about was going to fucking culinary school, and then almost got my ass to have to make rice. And I'm just like, didn't you make it? You're the one that did it. I did not make it. So I got out of that too. Very good at that. Got out of everything I didn't want to do. Which, why do you go out to play a game and say, I'm not carrying shit? Because it's, again, a strategy. There's physically fit people. I am. Let's not lie. Let's not lie. I don't do shit. Like, when it comes to, like, holding things up, my whole plan was let everybody else tire themselves out all week. Y'all do these stupid-ass challenges. You carry a flag and a water jug, and you do all this shit. And my ass is going to sit right here and watch you do it and tire yourselves out. Probably still would have lost, but it was a strategy that I was using so that I can conserve energy towards the later half of the game.
Now, your tribe also is given a bunch of bamboo and told to make a raft for your next challenge. I assume you weren't part of the raft for your tribe.
I was out there. I was standing you should think based on that raft that I probably did that all myself. Because what the fuck was...
Still my favorite part of the game right there is just seeing the raft.
Somebody brought up Survivor where they just kept all the bamboo together so that it floated, and I was like, cool, no work for me, it's dark out anyways. Sounds good. And I gave no feedback or problems with that. It was not a big deal. Sounded good. If y'all saw somebody win with this, I'm down with it, and we get to go to bed and go sit. That's what I was thinking.
Anything else about that merge that you want to talk about?
No. So that was that the morning it was raining. Yeah, it was pouring all day that morning, right? some asshat. Sorry, I love you guys. Somebody at Yellow Camp, it probably was my dumb ass and I just don't remember. Somebody put all of my warm clothing, my long pants, my long sleeve, my hoodie outside of the shelter. So I get back and that you can wring that shit out. And like all my dry stuff or all my like warm weather stuff is soaked because I was wet. So I had nothing warm to wear. Casey gave me the idea of sleep in your poncho. And I don't know if it's because like they were all like laying up on each other, like I couldn't even move. That was the warmest night I have had to sleep. And I slept perfectly. And that's what I was gonna say, except for Sharif's ass sitting next to me. He's so long, his feet are poking out onto the damn mud or something. So he's interrupting my beauty sleep by shivering all damn night. All night sitting next to me going like and I can feel it. Like I'm just being like hit on the side like every 2 seconds and he snores a little bit, and so I'm just like, okay, let me unbutton my own little poncho, even though I got fucking nothing to wear, and I will give you some of my poncho. And he fell asleep, and I thought that was gonna, Deana helps me. Like I thought that was gonna do some shit for me too, because I woke up and gave you some poncho and kept you warm, even though you're like 10 times bigger than me, probably have more body. I probably was warm because of him. I probably stole it, if I'm honest. I have no idea. It was just a weird. Josh and Barb were like face to face, snuggle, cuddling on their little corner, and then it's me, Casey, me, Sharif, and then I don't remember the other two. Anyway, so I'm in between Sharif and Casey, and like I'm burritoed in. I can't even move. I think at one point I was face first in the ground, but it was the warmest night. We had pillows. For every shitty thing I had to say about Blue Camp, and how stupid that setup was, and how you couldn't look for shit or talk to anyone without people seeing you, and just being fucking stupid. That was the best night of sleep that we had. And so I'm glad y'all won those reward challenges because I wouldn't have anything good to say about your camp if it's not for that.
So. Michael has a question. What's one thing you learned about yourself most out there?
I'm so proud of you. You recommended it to me, so don't tell me you're proud. I learned that every shitty thing that I feel about myself, that people don't necessarily think that about me. And that was probably the best takeaway I had from this. I have a lot of issues in my own brain. And it just felt very nice to go out there and have people like me and want to play with me and not give my ass first boot and be my friend, even coming out of it. So it has nothing to do with, it has a lot to do with the game, but it's a lot more to do with my own self shit. Just what made me feel good coming out of it was that. But
so following your best night of sleep, you then open up the next day with your immunity challenge. This is the fishing for immunity, where you have to go race out over the water, collect the fishes, then go back and solve a word puzzle. And I know you competed in this. There was no sit-outs.
There was no sit-outs. Yes, and they're like swimming. I'm like, I had just taken swim lessons before this shit because my ass don't know how to swim. How the fuck am I? And they talk about a life vest. I'm like, I can do this. Casey, now my ass really ain't got to do shit if Casey's there because his ass, he's going to be trucking, right? His ass going to pull my ass and this raft, whatever he's got to do. I'm sitting here thinking I'm sitting on this raft. And puzzles. Like, I love puzzles. Word puzzles. I fucking love word puzzles, you know? I've never lost a Wordle. Like, I'm dorky. Like, I'm into that kind of shit. So I'm like, puzzle.
Pretty impressive.
I'm like, I can do this shit. I can do the puzzle. I did not expect to have to swim the entire fucking way there and back, holding damn fish in my mouth with a vest that is cutting into my armpits. Like I had cuts when I got out of there. By the time we've gotten back, Josh, I thought he was throwing that shit, untying those knots. I'm like, what are you doing? I thought that was going to be like, my coffin, and he was doing it on purpose. Like I was just thinking Josh is someone that would throw a challenge just to, to do something like that. And he was taking forever. And I was like, oh no. Maybe he and I should have swapped. Thinking about maybe he and I could have swapped. It would have been fine. But then again, if I would have done the same thing as him, I would have had a fucking panic attack out there and I would have drowned. Like, so I think it worked out because we won. It's fine. But I come out of this water after having to fucking swim the entire time, dragging this big ass raft that they just tied together. They should have just cut a damn bamboo stick in half. I'm kind of mad that they didn't do that. If they were planning on making people swim it, why would you do that? Here's your little raft. Here you go. That was a lot easier to hold on to. But that wasn't the case. And I'm coming to run. It's a fucking hill. We gotta run up a hill. My legs are not working. My knee was finally better. Keenan fixed it that evening. The evening before, I don't know what the hell he did. He popped, literally moved something back in place. Like you could hear it. It felt so good. Fixed it. My knee was up and running. but I wasn't up and running. My legs, they hurt so bad I couldn't even jog up that hill. Coming out of that water, it felt like fire, and I'm just like, how do I even walk up this hill right now? And they're all waiting up there like, come on, Deana. I'm like, I can't move faster, your ass better. So somebody came back and got me. That was my most embarrassing thing. Like, y'all can really see I don't do shit, any type of thing. But that was a lot of swimming. I feel like the first thing I said, like, I was just like, taste of victory. Like, I was just saying things out loud because I could see victory, but I was just like, oh, no, taste doesn't work. And so we had victory kind of early on, but we never made the word, just saying out things. And so to go back and rewatch and see how close they were on that other side, we weren't even out of the damn water. I was on a lot of tribes that had comeback stories, and this was another one of them. And we kept playing with the sea of victory. We thought it was a play on words. Sea victory, ended up being victory at sea, a victory seat. There was just different things we played with, and we eventually got it. I'm over here, they're trying to yell things out loud. I'm like, say it low, don't let them hear what our guesses are. That was just my big thing there. We got it. That's all that mattered. My ass wasn't going home then either. I wanted them to do Megan though.
Really? So you wanted Megan to be one voted out?
Just from the things that I had heard about, and just knowing that she was really good at wilderness stuff and being outdoors, and I was kind of hoping. So I think Storm and I were obviously I never got to meet her in the game, but like, I think Storm was wanting something similar there. I also knew Carly. One of the first orgs I ever played had Carly in it. We were in a women's alliance. We did really well together. I couldn't remember how I knew her. She told me in the pre-jury because I was like, I know her. How do I know this girl? Like, I know her face. I know her. And so probably once I would have connected with Carly, I would have worked with Carly. Just, I'm always, other people don't like them pre-make, like knowing people. I sure do. I'm going to use anything I can. So I didn't want Carly to go there. I wanted Megan to go there. But I didn't feel surprised that it was Carly when she went. So that was pretty much it. I looked at Ryan, like when we came back up on, to the challenge, being on a new tribe, and I just like, I'm good. Like, no fears here, because Josh's ass duped me. But
between this challenge and the next challenge, did anything strategic happen or anything note?
Just more talks about us voting out Keenan or whatever we were gonna do, and fucking Josh looking me in my eyes and telling me something that he wasn't planning. It was mostly conversations with Josh. I think he was deciding at that point, and me probably putting my foot in my mouth and
yeah, Josh saying, and then me also telling Deana she's good, looking in my eyes.
This was after we had lost the next challenge.
Yeah.
I sure did. And he we'll talk about that once we lose the next challenge.
So let's talk about Pete's Palooza. This challenge has all your favorite aspects, lots of running, and basketball.
And they made it sound like the way the thing was worded is like someone's gonna be doing puzzles. I'm like, fuck, it's a puzzle. Like, we're all running. There's no damn. But the way it was worded, I was so excited. I'm like, but I'm also on the tribe with two people that do puzzles. There's no way they're gonna let me do that. They're gonna put me in something else because it's Josh and fucking James, two people who look arguably like they have the look of someone that can do fucking puzzles. And I'm just like, and then it was running. And my ass was very lazy coming back to camp that day. I actually sat down. I was like, I'm not getting out of a swimsuit. I'm staying right here. So I got to run in a swimsuit. Like, stupidity. The stupidness of myself going out there. And I don't get my damn marble the first time. I don't know anything about... The funniest part, I get to this camp and I say, have you guys been reading your handbooks? Meg said something about a challenge from the handbooks. No, we didn't read it. I never read the damn handbook, but I'm telling people to read it. There goes back to the things where I tell you, I'm good at giving advice, but not following it myself or doing anything. I never picked up that handbook, so I read nothing about a snake. So I missed a question and I'm already like dying. And I have to go again. I get it the second time. They didn't know the answer when I came back to ask them. I think that I don't know what the other questions were, but I feel like the smartest thing production would have done is like the easiest questions in the end, hard at the beginning to not kill anyone out there running in that heat.
If you're not killing someone, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but that was my thinking. I did not get it at the first question, almost died. Obviously, my little short self, I'm going up to do that damn basket first. I feel like I made the basket before James, and they said the first person or maybe the last person, I don't know what it was. Whatever, there was some order that whoever made a certain basket had to be the retriever of the ball. And I was supposed to be that ball retriever. And that was well, shit, this goes against everything I said my ass was going to do in this game of not doing anything. So James did it. I'm horrible. I'm sorry, James. I think James, I don't remember, but I think that I just know I didn't run after that ball, even though I was supposed to. And we get to throwing the ball. I somehow make that shit. I didn't think I was. That was actually really hard. Those things were light.
Mm-hmm.
It was very hard. I would have never made it from the second or third one. But here I am thinking, fucking Josh is throwing this. Damn it. He's standing here like taking a breather in between throws. But I'm watching Ryan, who I know would never throw a challenge, just because I was able to get to know Ryan's personality and thinking, well, maybe he's not throwing it because this shit's actually hard.
Mm-hmm.
I could have never made it. While we're doing that, I'm like, maybe they hit some type of advantage underneath one of these little things, and like just sitting to the side, just trying to look for shit. Nothing there because they put it in the stupid box. And Josh found it like he needed anything, but whatever.
Now, how did you found the fake idol this challenge? What would you have done with it?
I would have scared the shit out of people. Fucking me. I would have been like wearing that. I probably would have, because I had some inkling or fears that it was going to be me there. So I probably would have told Josh. I wouldn't have told him it was a fake or anything. I would like, I found an idol, and like he probably would have thought that we should flush it and stuff. And I would have told him I was planning on playing it just to hedge, to make sure in that moment he didn't have the opportunity to do anything funny. He would have thought he was getting me to play an idol, that kind of thing. But was this the time that we found my dumb ass? There are tribe handlers like, I'll fill up your water tanks. I'm like, they're being way too nice. And I literally said something like, since when do you do that? Like that. I made a comment about it. So we come back. I don't know if it was this challenge. It may have been
it was the previous challenge where the handlers fill up the water tanks and they attach the mutiny advantages to the water tanks.
And I see it. And I see Josh getting it. And instead of me doing, I'm like, you don't really want to see you doing this. Nobody's watching right now. I'll shield you. So I put my fat, like literally, like this, a linebacker in front of him to block, wasn't, as best as I can, so nobody else can see. In hindsight, I should have tackled his ass. I could have gotten that. Josh would have known what to do if my ass tackled. I mean, I probably would have gotten in trouble, but I should have fought him for it. I don't know if he would have known what to do if someone did that thing to him. I would have played it. I would have played it the first opportunity I got. Just because I didn't feel as good as, I was very hopeful, but I didn't feel that things would end up going my way if we lost.
Gotcha. So you would have just played it, and you probably would have been good on another tribe.
Sure would have. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I didn't do it. I didn't want to tackle somebody, and I thought at this point the best thing to do with Josh was to show him that I trusted him and I was willing to work with him and do as much as I could to be on his side. So that included shielding him to get a thing that he would have gotten anyways. He didn't care if anyone saw him. But I was trying to do a little something to be helpful.
So what happens after the Pizza challenge?
This is where I take Josh down to the little woods, like and I say, Josh, you know that I've been 1,000% honest with you. I don't have anything. Friend to friend, if I'm being voted out here, please tell me. Don't have me going up here looking like an idiot. He goes, no, you're good. And that was probably the most hurtful thing that's happened to me ever in a game. I've never had somebody who knows. I guess like Josh probably could have thought maybe she has something, maybe she lied and stuff like this. But I just thought that we had kind of a respect for one another, and I would have told him, like, even if there ever came a point in the game that I couldn't have continued to work with him for my own game or something, it would have been a serious conversation I had, because it's just how I treat my friends. And so I expected we're going to do you here. But instead he tells me I have to do Keenan, who I have done that little swear on my kids thing with. And I had to go through that whole emotional turmoil of telling someone who is in my top tier number one that I don't have anything I can do here. I don't have an idol. I have nothing I can do. Voting KC won't do anything for us. We don't have the votes. They're doing you. So that was pretty much that. We just having a conversation, heart to heart with Josh, where my heart was in it and his was not. His brain was in it. So
and so does Keenan come up to you and say, "Hey, am I going to be one voted out?"
I don't know if he asked if he was being voted out, but I just kind of told him. Remember how I said I'd tell you if your name came up or anything like that. I don't know if I'm going to vote you, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to let you know. And I kind of told him on the way more so. And this shit, ominous, that word.
Yeah, okay. Ominous.
It's like that. What's the word I can't pronounce? I have a list for something. I don't know. There's certain words I can't pronounce. I know what they mean. I am educated in that way, but I can't pronounce shit. it is thundering and storming on the way to this tribal council. And there was a few things that had happened that day that just made me think, oh, fuck, it's going to be me. And this kind of, I said, this is very ominous, that word. And they're all teaching me, fucking Josh, Sharif, Barb, trying to teach me how to properly pronounce this word. And knowing damn well why, like everything I was saying truly was what it was. And I think that what solidified me was not even the questions that were being asked. When I was asked a question in that tribal council, I answered like I always did, just try to seem, not too serious about everything, here to have fun, goofy. I mean, also, I can't answer questions very well.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm putting that kind of thing. I can talk my ass off, like, if you let me do it my way, but when it's like I just can't do it. But anyways, they asked the question, and I answer it, and I kind of turn while I'm talking, and Barb is rolling her eyes at me, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I see her doing it. I think that what I said about Keenan, I like something like, it's going to be you or me, and I hope it's not me, or something like that when I'm voting him out. I think it was kind of karma for me. I was willing to vote out someone that was a top person for me. So it's kind of karma, in my opinion, that it was me there. And Keenan still didn't even vote me. He loved me afterwards. He got up and gave me a hug. It was very meaningful. And then I got this little damn duck to give out. Also, I was sitting there looking like a Sith Lord, in my little poncho because it started to rain. And I was getting death dagger. Like, I just knew. I was like, at that point, I was like, damn, Amma, you're not in my face. I sure wish you were in my face right now. Like, taking my picture. Because I read into everything. That's just who I am. I read into everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, got this duck to the side. But at this point, I'm like, let me be. And I left my warm clothes back at the shelter. Why did I say, if I'm not here, somebody could use it. Before I even got back, before we even left for tribal, I just kind of felt that this was going to happen to me. So I just left it there for anyone else who wanted. They had dried at this point. I took my poncho off, gave it to Sharif since he was freezing the night before. Gave him my poncho. He didn't pack one. Josh wasn't getting my damn poncho. Not happening. He's like, you didn't give me the poncho. Sure damn didn't. You can freeze for all I care. Your heart was frozen towards me. No. So I didn't give it to. Yep. Still salty about the poncho. Yup. But in that point, even me doing what I did with the duck was a strategy. I wanted people to see Josh was just able to vote out somebody that he knows who considers him a friend. Tell them that they hope he does well. He's very intelligent and all these kind of things, and be looking like, if she would have gotten his vote, or if he would have gotten her vote, maybe it's something I should look at. So I decided to give it to his right-hand man, which ultimately, they did that whole little plan with that stupid necklace. I don't get it, whatever. And Josh went home as soon as he hit merge, just like I told him he would, without having, I can't predict. Who knows? Like, so many things could have happened over on yellow where they felt closer to Megan and Bash. Like, you never know what could have happened in the game. It's not, I can't just sit and speculate like what could have been different for other people, just for myself. But I kind of feel like I would have gone over and done very well for myself had I not gone right there. But it's okay. I'm kind of happy that I did, because that jury room, I would have died. Keenan coming in first, whatever order things would have been in, me in that jury room. It was hot, being locked in a room. My ass is antsy. I like the indoors, but I don't like the indoors with a lot of people. I like the indoors by myself. I would have died in that room. I would have, they call me a rule breaker because I was over here watching the jury, and I was like, I feel so bad for them. They're stuck. They can't, this kind of thing. So I would be like, trying to put alcohol outside their door, just trying. They put it right back outside for me. I was trying to be nice, and they were like, no, we don't want your drinks. So that kind of rule breaking in terms of just trying to give them things to entertain themselves, or not go crazy or quit, because I know being sequestered was a thing, and it was torture.
From talking to Kristen, it sounded like you all spent hours waiting between rounds, and it sounded rough.
It was the worst thing I have ever experienced, and this is probably the best. So, in terms of my mental, what I can handle, sitting and staring at people that think voted you out, and having to not talk for 5, 6, 7 hours like this. The mental games, especially someone that's always in their head like me, it was hard. I couldn't do it. No. So this was. I got to game 24/7. I didn't have to wait for a camera to be around me. I was in my element, despite being out of every single element that I am used to. I loved it. But yeah, and I'm actually happy too. I got pre-jury, last pre-juror, like, I wasn't stuck in a jury room. I didn't get a vote, but I also got to make friendships that other people, I got to meet pretty much everyone except for Bash and Megan in the game. And Bash, I've met Bash, like, on the final game night, we hit it off, and I actually went to see his bar in Wilmington. It was a lot of fun. We played some damn water bottles. Like, it was, oh, don't listen to it. I was drunk, so I thought it sounded real good right then and there, but we don't talk about it. But I got to make connections and friendships. Like Megs, who had probably every reason to be like, this girl lied to my face and stuff. She became one of my best friends coming out, like the closest people that I've had coming out of this. She's just an amazing person, and maybe like made me kind of feel like maybe I would have done things different had I just known that this is who was behind the, you know, player and stuff like that. Yeah. She's just beautiful. Went and seen Drew. Drew is awesome too. Like Drew's just someone that I get along with. We're both a little bit fun. I'll use the word fun. You're not crazy. I'm crazy. You're fun. I got Juliet. She is hilarious. I don't know, something about Juliet. She is hilarious. So I got to meet Julia and just mess with that. I got to play like Mafia, where they kept killing me with things like makeup and hairbrush and like stupid stuff like that. I'm like, that's my personality. I wear makeup. Cool. I don't know. So it was a lot of fun being where I was at in the game, and I think that for my mental stability, it's if I could not win, if I had to choose, you know, oh no,
you're either like first place or 13th place, nothing in between.
I think that I'm just gonna accept that for myself, because I don't think anyone else would have enjoyed me in any other placement in that room.
So Josh wants me to ask you about what you did to his picture on the wall.
I've got a video of it. So I came in, and they have this little picture wall where they have placed bets on people and who they think is going to win. And everyone has someone on production that's placed a bet on them and stuff. And Josh's little picture is up there. Every time somebody's being voted out, pre-jury's just standing there waiting on the porch, either like, oh, I'm so sorry, hugs, or like dancing. I'm up here twerking when Josh's ass gets voted out, just so I could be like, told you so. He gets voted out. I wasn't really twerking, but he walks up, and he's giving hugs because they were allowed to hug. And he goes, can I hug you? I said, no, don't touch me. Which I just did to mess with him, because he hurt my heart. I had literally no anger left at Josh. I got it. It's a game. I don't care. I had no anger left at him, but I wanted to mess with him because he messed with me with that whole little, no, I promise you're not going anywhere. Just vote your best, person out of this game. Because he messed with me, I want to mess with him. So I said, no, don't touch me. And he's a little, he's younger. And I didn't think about, I'm like being an asshole. And then they had this X. And I said, can I put the X on Josh? Well, they said yes. And of course, I didn't put just an X. I got little devil horns. I'm so sorry, Josh. It was a joke. I put little devil horns, and like his X was like 10 times thicker than everybody else's X. And yeah, but we had a very nice talk at the end of the game reunion, and we're cool, right, Josh? I didn't leave a bad Etsy review. It's still there. I like Josh. He has such a great heart. He's a great person. I don't care what he did in the game. Next time, don't do it, though. But I thought everything ended up how it was supposed to. I have no regrets. I had a lot of fun playing. I recommend it to anyone that, even if you don't think you belong outside, take your ass out there. It is an experience. It's like no other. You make friends, and you surprise yourself a lot. So,
did you have anything surprised you about how the rest of the game went?
Yeah, I think that going the route, like after Josh had betrayed me and stuff like that, like say that it didn't work and I had an idol and I stayed or something.
Yeah,
I would have been yellow strong, because I had very good bonds in that yellow, in that 5, and the fact that I knew Lauren, like just watching pretty much what I was saying, if they do this is going to happen. I said, if Lauren takes Ryan out here, she's next. And like that's kind of went back to back, and I was really rooting for Ryan, and then Lauren, and then at one point Megan's dad brought jelly-filled donuts, so I became a Megan fan. You can win my heart very easily. So I was rooting for, and I was rooting for all yellow, obviously, because it's someone that I played very closely with, and I felt like, I had a little bit of hand in this. So anybody surprised me? No, maybe just turning on each other when it wasn't something that would get, them far. 2 yellow made it there. So I think that was the only thing that was a little bit surprising for me. It was just the Lauren and Ryan thing. And then the waste of 2 idols. But how could they have known?
Yeah.
They were relying on other people. So
Let's say you're at the merge, let's say instead of Angela or something like that, like, or I guess
with Angela, take away Keenan, they would have done Keenan. If they would have done Keenan, probably.
Okay, so let's say Bash isn't there, but you are, right?
Bash.
All right, like, you know,
I
like
wanted to play with Bash. He's so fun. Okay, but Bash not there.
Mm-hmm. Like, what would you have done differently, and who would have been like your ideal final three, maybe?
Well, for that to have had been a thing, it means Josh would have stayed with me or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I would have gone and either looked at. I really love the people that I just met on Yellow. Kept Josh and made sure, like, been like, hey, we should do this person this time, and make sure that whenever Josh just came up and just tell him, hey, this was going to happen. If he had an idol, maybe do something about it. But that way my hands are kind of clean and I can still vote with Yellow. Or I could have very much done the Sharif's a big target over here, but over here's Angela. Like, maybe we do Sharif this time and Angela next time, and kind of going back and forth like that for myself. It just depends on what I felt other people were kind of willing to do, or that I didn't have to push myself out there as being, you know, much of a strategist as I actually am for them to see it, make them feel like I was kind of agreeing in things while actually thinking very much into my best move myself. So it just depends. I think I would have done a lot better. I think that there was a good chance I probably could have been towards the end if I would have made it past that damn
swap.
But that's okay. I do like, maybe that's just hopeful thinking, but I do feel like I had done something with connections, and there were people that were on to me, you know, that saw how I played. But I hope that it wouldn't matter, because I'll kiss ass any day just to, you know, to keep in, to stay in.
If you had found the Yoga idol and you played it at that tribal council, who would you have tried the idol out?
Sharif.
Okay.
Or Casey, like, but that would have just put it back 3-3. Like, but Sharif was the one that I wanted out coming over there the most. If they didn't want to do KC, I actually wanted to do James there. I didn't want Keenan going, because we had that, you know, that bond. So, like, if they would have given me anyone that I could have done that was on Yellow, if it had to be a Yellow, and they weren't willing to do KC, I would have done James there, sadly. Just in terms of how I felt next to Keenan. I would have done KC first there, but...
Parker has a question. What was your reaction seeing those two tribal councils that I guess, Kiwano 3.0 went through, right? Where James and Keenan went home back to back and Bash stayed.
I tried to be and not be very excited when I got to see friends come back in, because, like, I'm selfish. I get to hug people that I loved, and here, you want to drink, you know, that kind of thing. I felt sad during the whole James thing. It's like, oh, my heart, to not know that you're not going to tribal council that night, tell somebody they have to sleep on it. I would have been up there fighting the fuck out of people. Like, no, but James is such a kind-hearted person. James didn't do that. But with Keenan, Keenan was connected to me, you know? I never really saw anyone super connected with Keenan. Maybe they were, but I just didn't see them as thinking. So I could see anyone else kind of falling in that category. And I feel like kind of Bash replaced me very well in that group of 5. I just didn't feel like Keenan, maybe I saw him as a bigger part of my game than other people saw in his game. So I wasn't that surprised. I kind of saw it coming for Keenan, especially because Blue wasn't, like, the things that weren't super happy with Keenan or whatever either. So I just kind of saw that. I saw it coming. I felt bad. I felt sad. I think Angela felt maybe she should have held on to it, but I think that the intent was there, and that had everything gone differently, you know, Keenan could have done really well too. Had, you know, the swaps turn out different and stuff. But
is there anything else about your game you want to bring up and talk about?
I think I covered it all. I think I got everything down. I talked about everyone. I feel like I saw Lauren ask a question earlier.
Yes.
Did I answer that?
No, I was gonna throw it to you right at the moment. I was gonna kind of go some rapid fire questions at the very end, and
okay,
let's actually start with that one. You know, what was your favorite and least favorite part about the experience as a whole?
Okay, as I said, my favorite part was meeting the people that I met, the new friends that I made. Fucking Lauren. Yes, I will say it. The bestie Lauren. Just feeling like I have people that I get and who get me, and that we like the same thing. The least favorite thing I had a lot of. I think it was just, actually, it's not even, It was me voting Keenan. That was the least favorite thing I had to do in the entire game, was knowing that you vote out someone that I cherish. So.
Well, this next question is the one I always start with, and it's going to be a little familiar, but I guess, you said what were your favorite, least favorite. What was your highest and lowest points of the game?
I'll start with lowest in the game. I can probably name a few. When my clothes were soaking wet, when when Joshua voted me out, my lowest part was when I hurt my knee and feeling like, oh, fuck. This is going to get me in trouble because I'm already a liability because I don't do anything. Now I can't even do something if I want to do it. So it was when I hurt my knee was the lowest part. And the highest part, I guess just that first night and being able to make the bonds as quickly as I did with people, and that I was able to get myself in with everyone. Highest moment was just first night, getting that group and knowing that I said I was able to do what I came in there to do with getting 4 other people to want to work with me. What
was your favorite challenge?
Which ones did I do? I really liked all the challenges, like in hindsight, even the ones I didn't do, but I guess of the ones I participated in, only that little maze thing. I don't know. Everything, I didn't have to run in it, so I just had to pull damn string as balls. So I'll go with that one. I thought the slip and slide was a lot of fun to watch. And when I actually went down the slip and slide, I was like, damn, I would have loved doing this. This was actually a lot of fun. So I thought that one was really cool. And when we were on pre-jury, we actually went out and played all the challenges after they were doing them and stuff too.
What was one of your favorite challenges that you got to try out later?
None of those shits. I didn't do well. I started drinking pretty, I treated it like a little vacation and started, having fun. So I don't remember. I thought that the one where they were like holding up those like orange little disc things was pretty cool. I wouldn't have won it. I didn't win it when we all went against each other, but it was fun. Yeah, that one. Least favorite challenge. I know this was coming next, isn't it? I got you.
No, actually, my next question is going to be, what's one of your favorite moments back at camp that you're going to look back on?
It has to do with my hair. I like to wear these little sparkly shits in my hair. The first night, my hair tie fell out of my hair, so it was a rat's nest waking up, and I'm sitting here talking about my hair, talking about how my hair, I can't even explain. It was like, it looked like a rat had buried, like a squirrel or something had buried in my hair and created a damn nest. And Lauren, her luxury item was a brush, and she threw that damn brush away because my hair was disgusting. But we're talking about my hair, and as we're talking about it, I talk about how I take my hat off, and I was like, I got a damn bald spot looking like back here, like I can feel it. And Frank's got the camera, I didn't know he's there, zooming into the back of my head, and we're talking about the sparkles, and I talk about how, I do them because I'm trying. But a lot of women do these. And I say I live in Colorado and my hairstylist has them and a lot of people have them. And James goes, I was just in Denver. Nobody had those. And everyone just starts clowning my hair. And that will probably forever be my favorite moment because it came from James. The unexpected of just literally putting me in my place. And it was hilarious to me. There's so many good camp moments. I ain't gonna say I like camping, but I like Survivor. I like going outside. I thought it was a lot of fun. A lot of memories, a lot of good things to say. Very few bad things. So,
who surprised you the most out there?
My damn something else. James.
Okay.
Yep. James, he adapted very well. And although outdoors wasn't his thing, he was able to get a lot of people to socially love him. I kind of thought that maybe I look like the weakest girl. Maybe he could be the weakest guy, and that could be a route that people go. Because you do see that. I mean, I don't know if that's in the newer seasons of Survivor, but you do see the route where they try to take out the weaker people and tribes and stuff. But everything that he did was not something that I could attribute to someone that I would see as being weak. Very strong guy. So, James.
Who do you wish you had an opportunity to work with but didn't?
Bash. I don't know why. Bash is fucking cool to me. I like Bash a lot. When I got to go to his bar, he's so much fun. I just feel like we were able to talk through some of his thinking, and people say he was chaotic and sporadic, and I just think that would have been fun. Scary to play with, sure, but I can also, I'm someone that you can come to with a last minute plan and be like, so I feel like that could have been a pretty interesting dynamic and something fun to play with. Anyone on pre-jury I would have loved to meet and played with. Like, there's no one I can say anything bad about, but I'm going to put Bash #1 just because I would have loved to see that in action, and just have been a part of seeing it go down and be like maybe playing with him. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Looking back at the game, are there any decisions you're like, man, if I'd only done something else or tried something different there, I could have changed the course of the game? Are there any like pivot points for you looking back?
Maybe I could have reassured Josh some more, but if you look at it, if Josh had not have known me, that was the right move for him to do. Take out someone that is the most connected to a giant group over there. But you don't leave out 2 other people that could potentially vote with you. They shouldn't have done that to you, So maybe I could have got my ass up and looked for an idol that I thought wasn't there. Maybe I could have reassured Josh some more. But what I look at my going out as, like, take away Josh knowing me, that was just swap. Like, there was nothing. Like, most people in the spot that I was in any game would have gone out right there. And I'm not going to attribute it to me knowing somebody. It's just it is what it is. That was the smartest move for people playing to weaken another side to do. So I don't know that there's much different that I would have done. I probably would have stopped being in my own head about a lot of stuff. I would have approached KC more. KC's amazing. But I'm kind of proud that I just went out there and I was able to even do anything. Like, I'm just proud of myself for so much that I was even able to take my ass to the outside, to not get burned in the sun, to make friends, to even have people wanting to work with me. Like, I'm taking a lot away from the experience. It's just such a great experience for me, even though I didn't do great, But yeah, that's it.
Would you do another game?
Oh, now you're asking questions. Absolutely. So I said this. They asked, would you ever play Reelfoot again? I said, y'all don't want my ass. But if you ever ask me, I'll be right there. I sure would. I loved it. Like, using the word. I can't use loved enough. I felt like I was in my element outside of everything that I actually like. The gaming part, the meeting people. It was a lot of fun. So yes, I want to do another Survivor game. I'll play KC's maybe. I want to do better because I know that I can. Just can't look. Someone that swaps that shit. They just need to swap it better. I'm gonna need an Angela that I need to make sure that I'm working with every single person. If that's every situation I'm in, so that they put me in that damn fight or in that little swap, the 3 that they get to pick. So.
Well, Drew's biggest regret is not picking the schoolyard pick. So, like, if you had started in the blue tribe, if you started,
bro, they would have kicked my ass out first, Drew. Don't act like we would have ran shit. They saw you as being annoying. Can you imagine me over there? Like, if you would have picked me over Julia, swap us 2. It's just one person that's different. Just one person, Drew. Meaning, let's be honest here. Like, my ass. I mean, you wouldn't have been first boot probably because it would have been me. That vibe over there, I'm so glad I started on yellow. And I don't know if yellow became, part of what it was because I was over there and you're going to get what you get with me. Like, and hopefully you have fun with it or you hate me. I don't know. But I feel like on blue, I would not have been as well received. There's a chance because put me, Drew, Bash, Josh at that point, who knows me, probably used it to his advantage, and Carly. There's a chance that I was always going to try to get that 5. I didn't care who was in that. I was always going to try to get that majority group. So, high chance that we could have ran it. High chance I could have gone first, just based off of the dynamic that was.
High risk, high reward.
There's a chance. Don't know.
Well, Deana, I think that's all the questions I have. Anything else you want to say?
I have nothing left to say. Thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun talking. Thank you everyone for watching that came watch. I saw your comments. Drew, I love you. Josh, I love you. Parker, yeah. Michael Lucas, everyone that stopped in. Come play Reelfoot if you haven't. Play it. Sign up. The worst I can say is no this season, but keep trying. Hopefully they'll get you on because it's a lot of fun. Any live Survivor game, go do it. That's pretty much it for me.
Well, Deana, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time. I had a blast talking to you, so I'm glad you had a great time as well. I loved hearing your thoughts in the game, especially just all of this kind of the crazy things that happens that sometimes we just don't make it onto camera.
A lot didn't make it on camera, but I'm content with what did, because I couldn't control, like, most of the stuff that made it on camera. I was in control. We didn't want to see, like, before I go, there was a stupid log. One day when it was raining, I had my punch over my head. I almost knocked myself on this damn thing walking back to camp, and I'm glad that was not on camera. James did it too. It was horrible. A lot of death traps out there for the uncoordinated, but go do it.
You heard it here. If you're listening, you haven't played Reelfoot, the application will be open again this fall, and you should apply for it. Deana, again, just thank you so much for the past 2 hours. I had a blast. I hope the listeners had a blast. This is not the only Reelfoot deep dive. We have one more coming. Megan. I will be speaking to her next Wednesday, so tune in for that. And everyone, have a great night and a great weekend.